Recorded live.
Welcome to the Lost Lowdown, podcast number 54, with your hosts Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
Today we're talking about episode 505, This Place is Death.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're right. It is. People die on the island all the time.
There you go.
Case closed.
It is death.
Charlotte's right.
Yep.
All right, next episode.
Nice. So, next week's episode.
Let's just do a podcast from the future.
Yeah, that would be nice. I would love to be able to do that.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Just know all the plot details for next week.
Spoiler alert, here's next week's episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice. But we're not going to do that.
So, pretty good episode, huh?
Sure. What do you want?
What do you want? It's an episode.
I mean, stuff happens, right? So,
yeah.
Who's complaining?
People are talking. People are walking.
Oh, yeah. There's so much walking and talking.
There's some driving.
Oh, driving? Yeah, absolutely.
There's some gun pointing.
Gun pointing? Got check.
A little dash of bad babysitting.
Just a bit, just a touch, yeah.
There's some scowls.
Oh yeah, scowling all over the place.
There's some grimaces.
Grimace, yeah, lots of grimacing.
A grimace eye,
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
There's some
falling.
There is some falling, and there's some leg breaking.
Leg breaking, yeah. Arm losing.
Arm losing. A general sort of limb injury centric episode.
Yeah.
There's a bit of what else?
There's a bit of mass murdering.
Mass murdering, definitely.
There's some camp building.
Building. There's some dead body finding.
Dead body, yeah, definitely that. Yeah. Bodies falling from treeing.
Yeah. There's some firing pin disabling.
There's definitely that. Yeah.
So, like I said, overall, pretty good episode.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it has all that.
It has all that.
What more do you want?
So
some number hearing, some
number hearing, some
baby having,
some realization getting.
That's right. Yeah.
Some walking away from doing.
I somehow feel we've covered the entire episode just now. We may as well just end it.
There's some well spelunking. There's there's some light lantern use.
Mild lantern use, appropriate for teenagers.
Yeah. MLU should be the code for that. This episode contains mild lantern use. Viewer discretion is advised. And then you watch the episode and you're like, man, there was only Aladdin at the end.
Yeah, I know.
But they have to put the rating on there.
They do, yeah.
Anyway.
For the kids.
It's for the kids. Will someone please think of the children?
Yeah. Who's thinking of the children in all this?
Lost is.
That's right. Yeah, wheel turning, island leaving.
Wheel turning, time traveling.
I
guess that happens.
Yeah. Memory recovering.
There's some drinking from a leafing.
Yep. Definitely that.
Yeah.
Can't forget about that. Some ring giving.
Ring giving. Definitely some ring giving.
Very strong ring giving.
There's some international calling.
Oh yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always good to put that in there.
There's also some. I think that's it.
Yeah. What else do you want?
We've covered everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
So the title, Charlotte says it.
Yeah, Charlotte says it. And this place is the island.
This place is the island.
It's death because she dies.
Yeah. Well, I really think what she's trying to say, or what the show's trying to say, is that, the island is purgatory.
Oh, God.
Can I bring that back?
No.
Can I revive that horse?
Well, you can, but I don't want that horse.
Why not?
It's not a good horse.
Yeah, he's been beaten, but there's some life left. Come on.
It's a bad horse.
Bad horsey. So there's not much to say other than that. I mean, this place is death. I mean, I think she's being...
It's pretty on the nose there.
Yeah.
Unlike last week's title and Jughead.
What was last week?
The Little Prince.
God, don't remind me.
Sorry.
I know I asked, but
I shouldn't have said it. Should have just said you don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why I forgot.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know. Yeah, I mean, overall impressions, pretty solid episode,
Yeah, definitely. There's some stuff. We learned some things that we didn't know before, and events happen.
Events do happen.
What more can you want?
People do stuff.
People definitely do stuff, yeah.
And they say stuff.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And they hear stuff.
Yeah. That's right. So, shall we launch into this more?
Yeah, let's
maybe a little more specifically.
Yeah, let's just jump in. Let's get to the people doing and the listening and the saying of things.
Yes, and the leaf drinking.
And the leaf drinking.
Most importantly. Okay, so as the episode starts, we're back with Sun in the car on the pier. She gets a call on her cell phone, and it's Grandma. And Ji-yeon wants to say hello. So Sun talks to her, and she tells her about Aaron. Then she gets off the phone, and then she gets out of the car with the gun. So she walks up to Ben, Kate, and Jack with the gun and points it at Ben. She blames Ben for Jin's death, and so that's why she's going to shoot him. Ben says that Jin is not dead, and he can prove it. And we'll leave on that.
What?
What the fuck?
I think he's lying.
I think he's lying. I know he's lying.
I mean, you can't trust anything Ben says.
Never.
So when
has listening to him ever gotten you anywhere worth a damn?
Worth a damn. Never, actually.
Never.
Maybe this time, though, huh?
We'll see. Kind of looks like it, actually. But, I don't know. Yeah, so this line here was the one that was spoiled in that video.
I can prove it?
Yeah, Jin's alive and I can prove it, yeah. They threw that in there. Not a big deal, but it was there.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. I mean, what's the thing that's going to make Sun not shoot Ben? Like, that's, I don't know. I mean, I'm no writer, but, like, that's the first thing I would think of.
The opposite of the reason she wants to shoot him?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I always thought it'd be about that in the end, but yeah, I guess we find that out here. So, okay. So, anything else about that? Should I go on here?
Well, I gotta say, I did not expect the call from Sun's mother in this scene. That was a little unexpected. Just a little bit of reality setting in of like, hey, you've got this daughter back home.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that as you go murder this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Which she proceeds to do anyway.
That's right. That's right.
But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And your son.
She's there. You got to do it. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Not do it?
No, don't do that.
Nah. But yeah, you're right. I didn't see that. They showed her getting out of the car, I think, in the last one. So I guess this is sort of a flashback to like a minute before that.
Mhm.
A little bit strange, but
yeah.
at least it wasn't another flashback to the boat.
Please tell me we're done with the boat, please.
I really want to be done with that. None of those scenes have been great.
No.
I really don't think anything that interesting happened on that boat, no matter how many times they show it to us.
I think they played shuffleboard at some point.
Does that count as interesting? Maybe it does.
Well, I guess it depends on your definition of interesting.
Yeah, it does. You're right.
Yeah, I'm ready for the next scene.
Okay, so in the next scene, we're back on the island with the French and Jen. Montan hears the numbers on a walkie-talkie. Jen talks to Danielle. Jen finds out that it's 1988. Jen wants to find his camp. He asks about the helicopter. Montan wants to go find the signal that's broadcasting the numbers. Robert asks Jen if there's a radio tower. Jen says yes, but he wants to find his camp, but he doesn't know where it is. Danielle suggests they go to the tower and then find the camp. Jen tells Danielle that he's hoping to find his wife. Should I go on here?
Sure.
They walk through the jungle towards the radio tower. Danielle gets a kick from the baby and says she thinks it's a girl to Robert. Robert wants water, but Nadine has a canteen. Then they realize that Nadine is gone. They call out to her, but there's no answer. Montan thinks she's off chasing a butterfly, like women usually do. Then they hear the signature sounds of Smokey. Robert says, "What is that?" And Jen says, "Monster." Lost.
Yeah, so what do you think? You think Danielle's having a girl or a boy?
I don't know. It's too early to tell. I mean, we can't possibly know.
Well, she's kind of carrying low, which is usually a girl.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you making that up? Is that true?
That's what people say.
Carrying low?
Carrying low, and I think boys, if you're carrying high, it's a boy.
Is that true? Really? Like, you're not making that up?
That's what I've heard.
Wow, I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've heard it.
Wow. Carrying low. There you go.
There it is.
She doesn't just, automatically know. She's just like, look, I'm carrying low.
I mean, I think she probably knows on some intuitive level, maybe. I mean, that's the sense I get, but...
yeah.
But I also, think she's carrying low.
Yeah. Yeah, they've done this before. They had that with Sun and Jin, where he's just like, yeah, it's a girl. She's like, oh, it's a girl, huh? I don't know. They like that conversation for some reason.
It's one of those, expectant parent conversations.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think it's this. Oh, I think it's this.
Oh, you think it's that,
I love
do
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
It is a thing. It is a thing.
It's the last happy conversation the parents are going to have before the baby comes.
Oh, so true.
Then it's like, you get up and change her. No, you get up and change her. So, let them enjoy it.
All right, fair enough.
So they're going to go try to find the radio tower. As we know, at some point Danielle eventually gets there to change the message. So they will get there. She will get there at some point. But yeah. So they're going through. We lose one of the members here, Nadine, with the canteen. That rhymes. I don't know why. It's just kind of weird. Who's got the canteen? Nadine. All right.
Yeah, it seems like there should be a song to go with that.
Yeah. Let's not make one up right now.
Okay. I'm just saying. Yeah.
So yeah, then they start hearing Smokey, which we haven't seen in quite a bit.
That's right.
So that's interesting. I wonder what's going to happen.
I don't know. Will we see him again this episode? You'll just have to wait and find out.
And go.
And go. Let's see. Did I want to say something else about this? Yeah, I guess not. So far, I just want to note that so far what Danielle said about what happened has been pretty much true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there hasn't been any huge deviation from the story she told, as I remember it. So, yeah, just a little side note.
Nice.
Okay, so let's see. The next scene, pretty much the same thing. They're still talking about finding Nadine with the canteen. Jen wants to go, and Montan tells him to shut up. They find Nadine's stuff strewn about. Then Smokey appears, making noise, and Nadine's body falls from a tree. We never find out if she had the canteen. Jen says, "Run!" And so they run. Montan is out front, and Smokey grabs him and drags him away, pulls him on the ground. They chase after him. Smokey tries to pull him down a hole, and the team tries to pull him out of it. So they have a tug of war, and I guess Smokey wins because Montan's arm comes off, causing him to fall down the hole. Montan calls out from inside the hole. Montan says he's hurt. The monster is gone, and he asks for help. Robert wants to go down there because they're not going to leave anyone behind, but Jen tells him not to. But Robert climbs down anyway. Danielle's about to follow, but Jen tells Danielle not to go because of the baby. So she doesn't go, but she picks up a gun, and then another time flash happens.
All right.
Yeah, and the team's gone, and then some more stuff happens.
Then the rest of the episode.
Yeah, and so on and so on and so forth. So here we find out how Montan lost his arm.
Montan lost his arm.
A legendary
event. This is not the situation that I pictured when I first heard that tale.
Me either.
I always got the sense they were, like, trapped somewhere. Like, you know, maybe I need to go look up what Danielle says, but I always got the sense that they were trapped somewhere. Wasn't there some line about someone's, like, it's coming or something? Like, it's coming for her or them or something weird like that? Am I making that up?
When?
Like, the story that Danielle tells, I guess Saeed or whenever she tells this, a few times she's sort of talked about this situation.
Yeah, I think she talked about it when they were going out to the Black Rock,
yeah.
And they were in the dark territory, and that's when she mentions that Montan lost his arm there. But I thought she didn't elaborate. I thought that was all she said, but I don't really remember.
Or maybe I'm thinking from the message she left.
Oh, the message.
Wasn't there something about it's coming and help us or something weird like that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. Something like that. Although I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, me either.
Because it was in French, and they didn't translate it in the show. I just read a transcript of it at some point, but I forgot exactly what it said.
Anyway, so this was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to pull pretty hard on someone to take their arm off their body.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, it's in there pretty good. Yeah, it was a lot of them pulling, and I guess that by Smokey can pull that hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a lot. So, longtime viewers of Lost will recognize what happens here as being very similar to what happened to Locke back in season 1, where Smokey did the same kind of thing. He has various modes of attack. There's what he did to Nadine, which is kind of like what he did to the pilot in the pilot. Then, the sort of the direct attack. He did that to Kimi and his people too. And then there's this thing where he just drags them down a hole for some reason. So I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it's a thing. It's a thing that he does. And there's some suggestion that something happens down there in the smoky hole. So I don't know what that's about, but it's something we haven't necessarily seen before because Locke didn't actually go down there.
Yeah.
Of course, it wasn't the same place. It was a different hole, presumably.
Yeah, I think some of this can go back to the blast door map and the reference to this Cerberus vents, which people, including us, have theorized. This is these holes that Smokey comes out of, which I think is pretty much right.
Yeah.
And so I mean, we get some sort of verification of things. Danielle, when they were heading out to the Black Rock, she says that it's a security system. Now we get to sort of see what it's securing, and then later, Robert sort of confirms that idea, or at least that's where when it came from, was from him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things about Smokey going on here. He does have different modes of attack. It's weird. I mean, it seems like sometimes Smokey kills because there's some bigger reason, and then there's sometimes he kills and there doesn't seem to be a big reason.
He just does it, yeah. Just kind of.
I feel like maybe Nadine was some sort of setup, Like he picks off one member that he doesn't care about in order to get the others, maybe. But
yeah.
Why did he go after Montan? Like,
yeah.
Versus anyone else,
It kind of just seemed like because he was in front.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
That whoever was standing there, he would have grabbed.
But that's the thing. It's like, is he just sort of indiscriminate in his attacks, and he doesn't really care, and Smokey wants to kill all of them? Like, if he really wanted to kill all of them, I feel like he could.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. He does seem to just go after him and not need to do that.
Yeah.
And there have been times where it definitely seems like he's interested in a particular person for some particular reason. And then other times it seems like he'll just attack whatever he gets near. So I don't know. It's the answer.
And it seems like they ran like closer towards the temple or whatever when they ran, the first time.
Oh, what do you mean?
Because when Smokey grabs him, he takes him straight to the vent or whatever.
Right.
But they had been running before that, so they ran closer towards it, I guess.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I guess so.
Which was bad.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was surprised they were able to actually catch up to him. As quick as he was dragging him through the jungle, they managed to, run and catch him pretty fast.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to mention again is the sound effects that they use for Smokey, I really want to know if they're important or not, because, he's got these sort of mechanical sounds, and when he's dragging Montan, you hear this sort of cranking sound.
Yeah.
Almost as if someone is literally, turning a wheel with the crank that has, that's attached to Smokey and is reeling him in or something. It's a very, very mechanical, and I don't know if that's supposed to give us a hint, that it's a machine or something, but it's definitely strange.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know what that means. If that hole really is a Cerberus vent, then it certainly seems that that Smokey's not a Dharma thing.
Yeah.
Which is one of the theories that I had about it. That it was created like that. But if that's really one of the vents it's using, then it's an older thing. Whatever it is. And that makes it seem like it's not mechanical, even though it has mechanical sounds.
Yeah, I feel like Smokey predates Dharma. At this point, that seems like what they're trying to tell us. I mean, we this is the second time at least we've seen it near a place with hieroglyphics on it.
We
saw when Ben went to go call it to attack Kimi's team, he went into this sort of cave area with hieroglyphics on it. I think the vents all are connected to this there's this sort of underground network of caverns or something, similar to where we see the frozen donkey wheel. And, I don't know why they're all underground or what that means, but I think that's kind of what's going on here is these vents, that's how Smokey can, get across the island. So, we mentioned that before a long time ago, with all the hoopla around the Blastor map.
Yes, there was a lot of hoopla.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Back when we found that out about the place Ben went to, I was still clinging to the idea that might be Dharma, because it was a Dharma house that he used to get to it. But I don't think I can really cling to that anymore. I mean, this temple here, there's no way I'm going to buy that's Dharma. So I'm going to go with what you said about Ben's house, which is just that it was built on top of something that was already there, and fashioned so that you could get to it, but it wasn't constructed by them.
Yeah,
I think that definitely seems to be the case at this point. So, which like I said, makes me think it's not mechanical. It makes it seem like it's this old thing. Unless they're going down the road of, some strange
ancient technology
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I really don't know if they're doing that or not.
It's Smokey is. I still don't know. I have nothing firm for him. It's just such a strange thing. I almost feel like Smokey is some sort of metaphor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just what we're seeing of it is just what we can perceive of it, and not what it really is, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know what they're gonna say. Oh, it's magic, or it's ancient technology, or it's future technology, or it's some sort of spiritual, mystical thing, or it's just like any answer just doesn't seem quite right. So I don't know.
It does seem like it has to be more than that.
Yeah.
Like, it's magic and there has to be some other part, I feel like, of the story. Some better explanation for why it is like it is.
Yeah.
But it is strange. It's Smokey is one of those lost mysteries that, although I guess you could say it's developed over time, I still kind of feel like we know about as much about Smokey as we did when we first heard him in the pilot. And it's just something that lingers there for the whole series. And then in the last season, at some point, we'll find out what the explanation is.
Mm-hmm.
It just, unlike with Dharma and the others and so on, it just doesn't feel like we've really made that much progress finding stuff out about Smokey.
I would venture, to guess that of the big lost mysteries, Smokey's been sort of the least developed. That even though he's been brought up several times throughout the show, we still don't get a lot of information about it.
Yeah. They drop like little, and even in this episode, like they drop little things, hints and suggestions of things that might be true. But they always seem to shy away from a real revelation about Smokey.
Yeah.
You know? It's odd. When, you know, the whole Yemi Echo thing, I mean, they have a chance to say that Yemi is Smokey, and they almost do, but they don't. They don't show it. They don't make it 100% certain.
Yeah.
And here, you know, there's a suggestion that somehow going down in this hole causes the sickness, but it's hinted and it's just not clear how that could happen or what that means, or even if that's true.
I mean, I feel like what they're trying to say, or at least what my interpretation is, it's, you know, that the, you know, I guess we'll talk about this later in the scene, you know, the Robert that we see, the sort of post Cerberus Vent French team, you know, the people who go down there to try to help Montan and whoever comes back out, at least I guess 3 people come out, you know, they're somehow different. And I think they're supposed to be, in my mind, they're sort of, you know, on the same level as Christian and Yemi and all of these dead people we've seen on the island, who appear to be their regular selves and have their personality, but they're somehow different.
Yes.
So it could be as simple as you go in the hole, Smokey kills you, and you either become this, you know, apparition, for lack of a better term, or Smokey can then present itself as you, you know, or, you know, I mean, I feel like that's what I feel like is going on.
I see. Yeah.
To me, you know, I just don't. I don't understand why. You know. You know.
Yeah.
Why does Robert want to kill her? Like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Kill her as Robert. You know.
Right.
Like, you know, if this is really Smokey, then just grab her or something.
Yeah. You should be able to kill her like you killed Nadine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why Smokey's weird. It doesn't just. Sometimes it's like that. Other times it seems to do these, you know, these schemes where it's going to appear as this person and do things in this way. And it's, you know, I want there to be some reason for that.
Yeah.
And that's really unclear at this point.
Definitely unclear.
So, all right. Well, we can maybe talk about it a little more later.
Yeah, it'll come back up
when that thing happens. Okay. So, so in the next scene, the French team is gone. Now we're with Jin, and Jin observes that there's a kind of temple structure there above the hole that Smokey pulled Montan into. Jin leaves and drinks water from a leaf. Ding. And sees a pillar of smoke in the distance. And here I'm thinking, oh man, they're gonna, you know.
Here's where Russo loses her baby.
Yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen. I was like, oh shit, time to see that happen.
Yep.
She sees the smoke, and there's only 3 things you can do.
What was it?
Run,
hide or
die.
Wow. Can't believe I still remember that. Run, hide, or die.
It's classic.
Oh, man. Run, hide, or die. It's awesome.
It is. Yeah, that was, oh, man. That was the good old days. So, yeah, anyway, turns out to not be what it is. So Jin just goes over there, I guess, and he finds a small camp with a fire that's out, and the camp's in disarray. We see the the music box that comes into play later, or earlier, depending on.
Oh, jeez.
What you mean? I thought Jen might end up being the one who broke it, but that didn't happen.
Wow.
At some point, it gets broken. We still don't know how. Will we find out? I don't know. I doubt it, actually.
I always assumed it just got broken over time.
Yeah, I did too. but we don't know that for sure.
Maybe Smokey broke it. We just don't know why yet.
Yes, Saeed will fix it at some point, though.
He'll fix it at some time later or earlier.
Right.
Well, let's call the hosing off.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Jen continues to look around, and then he notices that there's actually 2 dead bodies lying on the ground, both from the French team. Then he hears Danielle yelling at Robert. They come out of the jungle, and she's pointing a gun at him, saying that the thing changed him. Robert pleads with her to stop. She says the monster made him sick. He says it's not a monster, it's a security system guarding the temple. Robert, with his own rifle lowered, asks Danielle to lower her rifle. He says he loves her. She's swayed by him and slowly lowers her rifle. After a short pause, Robert points his rifle at her and pulls the trigger. But he forgot to check the firing pin.
Classic mistake. Classic mistake.
Someone else will do this later.
Or earlier.
Danielle immediately shoots and kills him. And then Danielle notices Jen and points the gun at him, saying that he disappeared and that he's sick too, that he's a carrier. Jen runs away, and another time flash happens.
Saved by the time flash.
Yay. So, this is it, pretty much. This is what we get for Danielle. We get their arrival, and we get Montan losing his arm.
Yep. And
we get something about what the sickness was, and then Danielle shooting them, and that's it.
Yep.
We get nothing about the others. We get nothing about what happened with Alex, and why she thought the others were the carriers, why she thought the Whispers were the others. All the stuff about the others is not here at all.
Yeah.
But we do get this stuff, which is pretty good, I'd say. So we kind of just talked about this, but so your idea is that this is just sort of Avatar or some Smokey impersonating Robert.
Yeah, I mean, my working theory here is, if we go with the idea that Smokey is a security system and that its default operation is to, sort of neutralize any threats to what it's trying to secure. Neutralize means kill.
Right.
Then for some reason,
dead people are pretty neutral.
It tries to, well, not on this island sometimes.
Good point.
They're actually
touché.
But if we go with the idea it's a security system, and then see the line here where she says, it's a monster, and he says it's not a monster, it's a security system. I feel like what he's really saying is, I'm not a monster. Mm-hmm. I'm a security system.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I feel like there's the way I'm kind of picturing Smokey now is that when it inhabits these people or presents itself as these people, it's able to process and comprehend things on a different level. It's able to say things and do things it obviously sort of can't do as Smokey. And that might be why it does this. There might be another reason why, but I feel like it wants to kill her because she's a threat for whatever reason, You know, I don't know why he specifically does it as Smokey, if that's what's happening here, but I think somehow that makes it. I don't know. That's all I got.
Okay.
Not much.
That's well.
Yeah, I sort of hit a wall there, and I was just like, yeah, I don't really know anymore.
Yeah, I don't know either, of course, but
because here's the thing. If this was really Smokey or something, and then the other two people she killed were really Smokey, I mean, it seems sort of not very effective. Where okay, you present yourself as this human, you get killed. Well, why doesn't he just come out of the jungle now and kill her after this?
Yeah.
Or the 16 years that she was wandering around the jungle.
And what happens when you kill a Smokey as a person?
Exactly. Well, apparently the bodies stay there.
I guess so.
So, see that. You know, we've had this conversation before, obviously, where, you know, are these bodies real and all this stuff, and some of them can sort of interact with tangible objects in the real world, and some of them kind of don't. You know, he's got this rifle here, which, you know, was the same rifle that Rousseau used because she she dismantled the firing pin or whatever. So it's a real rifle.
Yeah.
So if this is an apparition, he's able to interact with it. So I don't really know. Part of me feels like, you know, another theory we had, I guess, was the sort of clone idea or something, where they're not really Smokey, but somehow they're influenced by it or something, and they're, you know, the sort of doppelganger type thing.
Yeah.
Which Danielle says something as she's shooting Jen. I didn't catch what she said, and it's not in the transcript, but I thought she said something about a doppelganger, or tried to call him that when she was shooting him. But I couldn't really tell.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
She said some word that I thought was doppelganger, but I don't remember. And I think she was speaking English. Yeah, I think she was.
Yeah, she was speaking English. It did seem to me like when he says that it's not a monster, it's a security system, that he was defending Smokey to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't call it a monster. It's just this.
There's some sort of awareness and knowledge of it that I think was, you know, sort of given by the fact he went down there.
Yeah. And it does explain why she later / earlier says, you know, that it's a security system.
Mm-hmm.
It always, you know, over time it seems stranger and stranger that she just came out with that. Seemingly out of nowhere. Like, why would she say this? Why would she think this?
Well, it does explain that, but I think there's a little bit left to be explained to the fact that how does she come to believe that? You know, she just killed all these people who she thought was, you know, monsters or product of monsters or different or sick or whatever. At what point does she just say, oh, well, he was right, it is a security system?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm still waiting for that moment. And maybe the idea of, you know, maybe Smokey really just does have limited range. Like it's protecting this area, you know, the dark territory, and if you stay away from there, you really won't encounter Smokey.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems sort of true. I definitely think it's limited somehow. I do feel like it can't, like, leave the island, for example.
No. You don't think it can go turn the wheel and leave the island? If Smokey goes down the well, does it break its leg on the way down? That's a question that cannot be answered and should not be answered.
I agree. There were those that I read who thought that Smokey actually was, for example, some of the people Hurley was seeing. And, you know, maybe Jack was seeing and stuff like that. Because yeah. Well, whatever. It's still there's still that question of what Smokey does versus whatever else is on the island does.
Mhm.
How that relates. If Smokey is a security system for the temple, then it ties him in somewhat, but it does make him sort of his own thing, not just a thing. What do I want to say? Not just yet another version of the island's will or whatever, but kind of a somewhat independent thing that was put there.
Yeah.
And there's some way to sort of control it, I guess, but on its own, it just sort of does stuff.
I think Smokey is Vincent somehow.
Oh, God.
I'm still...
Not Vincent again.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Vincent is unaccounted for at this time.
He is unaccounted for because he's in the temple transforming into Smokey.
I just figured he was somewhere on the island, but okay.
And another
definitely a classic LLD theory.
Another thing with these apparitions is I don't want to discount the idea that somehow the explanation for the apparitions that we've seen it has to do with time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of your body's on the island dead, and therefore you can remanifest yourself, but it's really a version of you from a different time. Or something.
I see.
Something like that. Some general thing there, I think, might be going on like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I could buy that. Yeah.
I do want to mention. I don't think I mentioned it last podcast, but I did want to say that I like who they cast as Danielle.
Oh, yeah.
She's working for me.
Yeah. I had trouble with it at first, but she won me over.
Yeah.
It worked. She actually seemed like Danielle at a certain point.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually bought it. When she was nice, I guess I had a hard time buying it because I wasn't used to her being nice.
Who is this crazy French lady who's nice? That's not Danielle.
Yeah, it was just hard to imagine. But obviously the idea is the traumatic events combined with the 16 years living alone turned her into the Danielle that we knew.
And speaking of hard to buy things, are we expected to believe that, again, she finds Jen in the water.
Oh, God.
He leads them towards the tower. Smokey attacks. He disappears. He reappears a little bit later.
Yeah.
Sometime later, and then runs off into the jungle, and she never sees him again. Until she discovers the Losties, and she doesn't I don't know. Yeah. The fact that he did ask, what year it is. I mean, every time there's a movie or something where people are time traveling and they say, what year is it, and the person they ask is always like, why are you asking what year it is? I always want the person to immediately realize that the person who's asking what year it is asking because they're time traveling. But they never seem to do that, and I wonder if I was walking down the street and someone came up to me frantically, asked me what year it was, I would hope that I would, maybe assume this person's time traveling. I think it's a logical conclusion, because why else would you be asking what year it is?
Honestly, that would not be something I would think.
Really?
Yeah, just because...
Like, if they're like, when? And you're like, October 12th, and they're like, no, what year? What year?
All right, if the conversation really went like that, I would think, at the very least, I would think they think they're time traveling.
Okay, exactly. I mean, that's the first step.
Yeah, I can admit to that. I wouldn't actually think they were time traveling. I would come up with some alternate explanation, but at the same time, it would definitely be something I would think about. I wouldn't just let it pass.
It's like What year? 1988. Why? Are you time traveling? Is that a crazy conversation? No. It's very simple.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially a guy who came from nowhere. He didn't.
Yes.
There was no boat around.
The man from nowhere.
The man from nowhere.
Yeah. I was going to say there's a post on the forum that tracks through all of Danielle and Jen's appearances and the opportunities that that she would have had to see him, and from reading this long list, they almost never appear together, and there's a couple of times where she had a chance to see him. I think there's only one like really, really big time where she could have seen him, and if I remember right, it's the time when they're setting off the dynamite, when they're doing that demonstration in season 3. She's there and Jen's there, and like they're close together even.
Yeah.
I think that if I remember right, that's the time when she had the biggest opportunity to see him. And then there's also the beginning of season 4 where they're all at the fuselage, and they're about to split up into different camps, and they're both there at that time, and she could have seen him. They weren't necessarily shown being close, but they are there in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, at the very least, she could have seen him, but they were pretty separate for a lot of the time. I'm almost willing to buy that she doesn't remember exactly what he looks like.
I would totally buy that too. I mean, she didn't see him for that long. You know, it was 16 years ago in the middle of all this other drama and anxiety. I will buy that she didn't see Jen and assume, hey, are you the guy from 16 years ago?
Yeah.
I'll buy that. I'll definitely buy that. But it's just, you know, it's just weird to have to buy that.
Yeah. It is. It feels, even though it's plausible, it still feels like a retcon.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that when they did those scenes. I mean, actually, I'm pretty certain that when they did those scenes, they weren't thinking that she had seen Jen before.
Or hey, let's not have Danielle and Jen have any extended conversations,
right?
Because years from now, we're gonna reveal that Jen was there when Russo landed on the island.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't think that happened. I think it was just chance that they didn't really. I mean, Jen was usually off doing his own thing, and he just wasn't involved in her plots.
Yeah.
Very much, and they wouldn't have had conversations because I mean he didn't really start speaking English until pretty recently.
Well, it all makes perfect sense now, doesn't it?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I feel like it was kind of an accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it had been another character in those circumstances, you know, I feel like it could have easily been the case that it was I mean, maybe they actually thought that. Maybe one of the reasons they were willing to do this is because he's one of the few characters that she really didn't have much of a chance to interact with.
Yeah.
But it's pretty interesting if anybody wants to read, like, because I definitely didn't remember. I would say, like, you know, majority of the things that are mentioned on the list.
Yeah.
I remember I remember the plots, but I never remember, like, when Danielle was doing this, Jen was doing that. You know, like that's I can't remember the show that well.
Well, kudos to Perry for putting this together.
Thank you. Yeah.
Long time LL Deer. One of our favorite Aussies.
Oh yeah. Way up there.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a lot of the time that Danielle was doing stuff, Jen wasn't around or was not in the episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those. Now, if it had been Saeed or something, that would have been a really hard sell.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, Saeed would be the hardest sell, I think.
Yeah.
You can't make us buy that one.
Yeah. Yeah, no way.
There's more, I'm sure, but we can move on.
And I can't help but feeling there's a little bit of luck involved there, that it just happened to be the character who they had a chance to do this with happened to be a character that it worked for, with their overall plot.
Yeah.
I think there's some planning there at a certain stage, but like in general, the fact that it was able to work out that way, I feel like there's a little bit of luck there.
Yeah. Well, I think most good writing has some luck involved.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean,
like,
I don't mind that. It's just I just.
Well, if you don't mind it, why are you complaining?
Oh, I always complain.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so the next scene.
Yep.
Okay, so Jen wakes up, and we hear someone behind him with a gun and tell him to turn around. And guess what? It's Sawyer. Sawyer realizes who it is, and they're really happy to see each other. It's a nice reunion for everyone. And by everyone, I just mean the two of them. The other people don't necessarily seem all that happy.
Other people are like, yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Everybody's happy now. Let's go. Jen realizes that Sun isn't there and asks where she is. After a commercial break,
he says, "Where's Sun?" And Sawyer's like, "After this commercial break, I'll tell you."
Yeah. I don't know how else to phrase it. I mean, you have to just say there's a commercial there because the scene just doesn't work without saying that.
Did you what commercials did they show during this break?
Don't ask me that. What is this, the 90s? I don't watch commercials.
What is this, 1992? It's like, yeah, let me go check my VCR. That's how I recorded it.
Oh, God. Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, man, laughing at old technology.
To do that. I know.
Yeah.
Used to set the clock and...
VH what?
Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, man.
So sad.
It is sad. So anyway...
Right, so continue.
Yeah, there's so much more here. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The three scientivos speculate about what happened to Jen. Sawyer tells him that they're moving through time. Jen wants to say something and asks Charlotte to translate for him. Sawyer thinks that Jen means Miles, who informs him that he's from Encino. Jen wants to know how they know that Sun is off the island. Locke says he's sure, but it won't matter if they don't make it to the Orchid. Charlotte translates. Charlotte translates. Wow, I just put that there. I don't know. Sorry.
That is true.
I wrote this, and I just don't know why I put that there. Anyway, I mean, it's true. You're right. Charlotte tells him that Locke wants to bring them back, including Sun. Jen asks why bring Sun back, and Locke says because she never should have left.
Oh, okay. That's
it.
Trap logic.
Oh, Locke. With airtight reasoning like that, you're going to go far.
You are going to go far. Down a well.
Oh.
Zing.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta love that. It's a whole show where no one knows why things have to happen.
But they're sure it needs to.
Yeah, they're just so sure, and they're just gonna do it anyway. And we're just gonna have to sit there and deal with that.
I don't know, Locke's being sure wouldn't have ever got him anywhere worth a damn.
Oh You're right. It really, at this point, Locke being sure is just not a good sign.
Mm-mm. He was sure when he was beating on the hatch and the light came on. He was sure that was a sign.
You're right.
But little did that Locke know there was another Locke across the jungle who knew that wasn't a sign. So.
And when Locke decided that the button didn't do anything, he was really sure about that.
He was so sure. He was so convinced. Yep.
Yeah, he is usually quite sure of himself. And yet.
So sure, so wrong.
Yeah, it's amazing he's still around after all of his mishaps.
The island wants it that way.
I guess so. That's the only explanation. He really needs some kind of supernatural assistance.
Can I just tell you that Locke is Jacob?
You can tell me that.
All right.
I'll listen to you say that.
I think Locke is Jacob. This whole cyclical nature that they're showing on the show of this, the others revere Locke because Locke went back in time and presented himself as their leader and like this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy kind of a thing going on here. And then Locke's line about, he doesn't want to go back and tell his former self to, sort of not waste his time with what he's worried about at that point because he needs the pain or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, Locke is Jacob.
Now, the reason why I think Locke is not Jacob is just very specifically that Damon and Carlton threw that out as a possibility. Mm-hmm. And I just find it hard to believe if it were true, they would be willing to just say it like that. Otherwise, I would definitely entertain your theory. I mean, aside from that, which has nothing to do with the show, it's just outside stuff. Yeah, it makes sense. I could definitely buy that they would go there. And that's why we haven't seen him. There's definitely a mystery about Jacob's identity. I mean, they've made it clear because they've been unwilling to say who played him in that scene. And in talking about it, they make it clear that, there's a reason why they're not saying, that's part of the story.
Yeah.
So, given what Locke's doing here, like, it makes sense.
How did they present Locke being Jacob? What did they say?
Someone asked who Jacob was, and they were like, we're of course not going to tell you at this point. And then they said, how did they say it? Oh no, I don't even remember.
Was it like, I don't know, could be Locke. I don't have any pants on. Was it something like that?
They said Locke from the future. That was what they threw out. But I don't remember exactly how they got to that. It was.
Well, maybe he's Locke from the past.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, is that different enough? I could just see the reason that Locke is going through all of this hell that he goes through in his entire life, which I have to say, more than probably any other character, he's been through just the worst stuff.
Yeah.
For almost no reason. I mean, I don't think yet he's realized why.
Right.
I can see some sort of grand reasoning in that. It's sort of himself that's putting him through all of this. Himself being Jacob. Right. And sort of orchestrating this stuff for some sort of fulfillment of his destiny and.
I mean, he's supposed to become Jacob, so. Yeah. Presumably he needs some preparation for that.
I think so.
So, yeah, it's sort of weird. It's like he needs to go through this so he can become Jacob, and since he's Jacob, he makes sure he goes through this so he can become Jacob, and since he's Jacob.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like I was thinking about this when I was watching the show, and it's just time is just not linear on this show. It's sort of continuous, and it just things don't have to happen yet for other things to happen because they're going to happen. So the other things do happen.
Yeah.
And it's just a weird way to look at time.
It is. It kind of hurts.
It's like, because, Jin, or maybe not Jin, that's a bad example, but, when Locke and those guys go back to the 50s and the others camp, I mean, they're there before they're even alive, before they're even born yet.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't really sit well in the average human brain.
Right.
It's like, how can you go back in time if you're not born yet? Well, because you went back in time. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that bothers me for some reason even more than that is going back and there being two of you.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. Something about that really confuses me.
Mhm.
Because I feel like that shouldn't be possible. It makes sense, but it just sort of bugs me. Like it makes it seem like where did the second you come from? From
the future.
I know, but but yeah.
I think it's I was trying to think about this, and we've had the conversation before about different dimensions and things like that, and time being the fourth dimension, and if
right.
We live in a 3D universe. Us moving through 3 dimensions is no big deal. If you were to talk to a 2-dimensional life form and try to explain to it how to move in the 3rd dimension, it would be like, what? What? Like, that's crazy. And so I think, the same kind of thing applies. It's weird to this whole time travel thing is sort of strange, but if you could comprehend just the sort of 4 dimensions, and it's no big deal to move in and out of time and through time the same way as you walk upstairs to your apartment, or you go to the store, or you go around the world, or you go to a different planet, or you go, what I mean? It's the same kind of a thing.
But the strange thing about time is that it seems like we don't have any control over it. You can't really have an effect on how you move through time. That seems sort of fixed.
What do you mean? Oh, you mean, well, for us, because we're in this 3D world.
Yeah.
The same way, like I said, a 2D life form would have the same sort of limitation. It would feel fixed in its sort of 3rd dimension or whatever.
But it seems like time is different than space dimensions. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that, but it seems that way to me.
Mhm.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. I think it does seem that way, but I think it can be viewed as just another dimension with, with similar properties. I mean,
it's sort of a dimension that carries us along with it. It kind of controls us rather than us determining.
Well, but don't the other dimensions do that too?
Well, not really.
I mean,
not
where
in the same
we are.
way. I mean, we can definitely easily have a direct influence on the other dimensions.
Yes.
And constantly. I mean, it's a mundane fact that we can do that.
Yeah, if we invented a time machine, we could potentially have the same sort of power and control over time.
Right, but we don't.
We don't.
That's not at this time. That's not something that we can do. Like the state of the universe, such as it is, allows us to move through space dimensions with. I mean, most people don't consider that to be a very exciting thing. Everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Moving through time would be a breakthrough. Would be a. I really feel like there's something different about time, but yeah, maybe not.
I feel like there shouldn't be anything inherently different if there's nothing inherently different about the 3rd dimension or a 2nd dimension. Like, we're a product of this universe, and so therefore we have the ability to move through those 3. But it's just a sort of ability that we have. I mean, we could almost as easily not have that ability. I mean, if we could only move in 2 dimensions, then that would be our limitation, and like I said, the third would be the weird one.
Yeah, but I guess if it were a third physical dimension, I guess you're saying time is like a fourth physical dimension that we just can't.
Yeah.
And yet, but we can sort of feel it. I mean, I guess that's the point. I guess you can tell that it's there, but you can't really perceive it the same way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the perception is, of course, our own consciousness perceiving it.
The way, like in 2 dimensions, if you threw a sphere through 2 dimensions, they would just see it as a bunch of circles changing size.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't quite. They would be able to like see the effect of a 3-dimensional thing, but not really grasp what that third dimension is like.
Yeah.
So maybe time is that way. It's just, I don't know. It's hard for me to think of it that way.
I feel like it's that way on a very basic level. I mean, it might have some, there might be, intrinsic things to it that makes it sort of special. But I think in a very basic way, the analogy should work, of this other dimension that, I mean, because if you look at the show, the way they present it on the show, there sort of is no difference between when they're traversing the island and when they're traversing time. They just sort of do it. And
right.
It's not a big deal, really, other than the fact it's sort of killing them.
Yeah.
Because they're, but that's for other reasons. But, yeah, it seems to me like if the human body had the ability to, the same way, your brain tells your muscles to walk upstairs, if your brain could tell your muscles to go back 20 years,
Yeah.
The same sort of effect,
Right. Yeah,
weird,
I guess it just seems one of the things about time is it seems like it's running, or it's the thing that when it changes, the fact that it changes is what allows all the other dimensions to change.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite, though. I feel like if things in the other dimensions didn't change, you wouldn't be able to perceive time.
It seems like if you imagine time freezing, like if you really could just hold it still, the physical dimensions would freeze as well. It seems like they depend on time.
Well, see, I think it's vice versa. I think if the physical dimensions froze, if everything in the universe stopped moving and changing, then you sort of, then time sort of has no meaning. Because time is, the perception of things changing and one object moving to the other. If the object never moves, then what's time? I mean, I guess they're interrelated, obviously.
Yeah.
But I feel like, we can perceive time, because the stars move around and, the sun.
Yeah. We can perceive it, but it definitely seems like it's possible to me for something to stay still, even for the whole universe to stay still and time to go on. I mean, I think the heat death of the universe is basically that.
The what of the universe?
The heat death.
The heat death?
Yeah.
What's
yeah,
the heat death?
It's this idea that at some point in the universe, all energy will be gone, and the universe will sort of burn itself out, and all energy will be expended, and it will just be in a kind of stasis, and that'll be the end.
So there's no movement, there's no change or anything in the universe.
No.
Okay, but then that's the thing. How are you perceiving time? Like, to say that time.
That's the thing. I don't think we could perceive it, and yet I still feel like it's there.
Well, that's the thing. I would agree with you. It might still be there, but what's its effect if you're not able to perceive it? Like, time sort of, to me, doesn't really have any meaning.
Yeah, well, at that point, time's effect is to keep everything constant. I feel like nothing has to happen for time to be affecting it. Time can just be affecting it by having nothing happen.
But what is the time, though? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you have this universe, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
You know, what is
how do
time,
you even say what time means in that context?
Because
okay.
in order for you to perceive it, you have to have some sort of consciousness,
yes.
or you have to say, okay, here's the point at which the universe froze, and here's a point of time later when the universe is either still frozen or unfreezes or something else. But either way, you're still perceiving something. You're still setting up a beginning and an end. You're still defining what time is by that. You know, and that's why I feel like if the universe is frozen and you're not there to perceive it because you're frozen or dead or whatever, then time is effectively, you know, gone. I mean, for you to say it still exists, I feel like means you have to enter that situation and observe it.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't answer this question, but I guess I want to say that that there's some way to kind of objectively get at what time is that doesn't depend on humans or human perception or anything like that. That you can talk about it in the absence of any movement or energy or anything like that. Like I want to think that there's a concept of time like that, and that's possible to do that. I may very well be wrong about that, but that's what I feel like ought to be possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely love to hear a theory where that makes sense. But yeah, but like I said, for me, it's time is just dependent on perception.
Right. So
because I don't know what it is without you know, how do you talk about time without referencing something happening? You know, like that. You know, and maybe that's just our limited view.
It's a hard problem. It's a hard problem.
I mean, maybe that's just our limited view of what time is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
That's why I want a kind of objective. I mean, the way we measure time is very subjective. You know, it's the particular place, you know, place that we are in the solar system and so on, like determines time measurements, and that's clearly very subjective. But I want to believe that you can do better than that.
But here's the thing. Okay, say our universe freezes and you know there's no movement, there's no energy. Like, okay, that's not to say that this is the only universe out there. You know,
sure.
Or you know what I mean? It's like at some point, is there something else where you can objectively or sort of subjectively view time and say, hey, this little universe here where they have the humans and all that stuff, that's all done and frozen now, and it's been that way for X amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I live in this other universe where I can say that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
so that would definitely make sense. That's still kind of a dodge because you're still using the subjective view of time.
Yeah, well, and exactly. It's still it's not really dodging it because it's just a different perspective on it. You know.
Yeah, well, I guess I feel like it doesn't resolve the thing that I want to resolve.
Yeah, exactly. Which I'm trying to say is can you really ever resolve that?
Yeah. Well,
you basically have to say every sort of physical manifestation of energy and matter, if that's even enough to cover it, freezes throughout every sort of universe, multiverse, dimension, anything you could ever be in or experience things from stops.
Yeah.
And then you have to talk about time from that perspective. And that's when your head should just explode.
Yeah. I agree. That's the only proper response to that. I really can't make any sense of it. And you know, I'm no physicist, so I don't really know if or how that's done. But I guess I suspect someone has thought about this, and I feel like there ought to be a way. I feel like it might be unsatisfying. It might be like, that's what you mean by time? Like, I don't buy that. Okay. But I just want something there where you can just point to it and you can say, you know, if it has this, then that's time. And you know, and it just comes down to checking whether it has that thing.
Well, if you ever find that out, let us know.
Okay, I will. I'll report back.
Because I think that this that you're referring to is some sort of observable change. Because they measure time with the sort of vibrations of atoms and crap.
Yes.
Down to very small levels. So
yeah.
if nothing is literally changing.
It would definitely be a big challenge to measure time in that context. I still want it to be there.
Yeah.
In some sense. But I agree that it's a hard problem, and I agree that I have no solution to it.
All right.
So.
You should go around. You should give a lecture about time, and you should present the challenges, and then end with the fact that you have no answers, and then thank them all very much for their time, and then leave hurriedly as they throw things at you. I'd watch that seminar.
Yes, all sorts of fruit come flying my way.
All sorts.
And tomatoes. Are they fruit? I don't think they are.
Yeah, they're fruit.
Oh, they are? God damn it, I always get it wrong.
They have seeds. I think they're fruit.
Shit.
It's hard. Some fruit are not even vegetables.
Seeds means fruit, huh? That's the...
Sometimes, buddy.
Oh,
sometimes.
God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, all right.
I do think there was a fruit or two I came across, or I should say a vegetable or two I came across, and it was supposed to be it's a vegetable, but it has seeds, and it's like the exception, and it's a fine line sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. I really thought it was a vegetable. I thought that was the answer. God damn it. Yeah. All right, mental note.
That's the general rule of thumb, though. It is definitely the general rule.
Okay. That's what I ought to remember. Just like if you say a preposition, then you say whom. That really helped me. Because I had no idea what to do before that.
Yeah, that's preposition. Whom is used after a preposition. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a line in the last episode where I think Kate said away from who, and it really bugged me.
That was wrong.
Yeah, it's no. I was okay, well.
Yeah, just always remember the thing that made me remember. I think probably in high school English or something was for whom the bell tolls.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one. I hadn't thought about that.
There you go.
So, okay, well, back from contemplating the properties of the universe to this lost episode, are you ready for the next scene?
I'm ready for the next scene as soon as I mention that apparently I'm on Wikipedia and under vegetables, and they have a very awesome Venn diagram.
Okay.
With one circle being vegetables, and they have it looks like a beet and some broccoli, and they have one circle with fruits, and it looks like peaches and a pear, and in the middle, the single object in the overlapping part of the diagram is the tomato.
Wow.
And there appears to be some reference to vegetables in a culinary sense versus fruits in a botanical sense. So I think there's some strangeness going on, and which is why it's hard to specifically classify.
Okay, so there's a way people say the words, and then there's the scientific classification.
Yeah.
And they're not quite the same. I remember finding that out there's something about berries that's weird. Certain things are berries that you wouldn't think, berries in the technical sense.
And certain things are, nuts, but they're actually beans or something?
Yeah.
Or they're legumes.
Yeah. I know peanuts are legumes.
Yeah, peanuts are legumes. It's not a nut, folks.
It's not. No matter how much you think it is.
It's got a nut in the title, but it's just not.
That's right. I think cashews also.
Here's an interesting fact that I did not know. the question, sorry for this tangent, people who want to talk about Lost. The tomato, is it a fruit or a vegetable? That question found its way into the U.S. Supreme Court in 1893.
Wow.
A little bit before all of our times. The court ruled unanimously in Nix versus Hedden that a tomato is correctly identified as and thus taxed as a vegetable.
Whoa.
For the purposes of the 1883 Tariff Act on imported produce.
Okay, all right.
The court did acknowledge, however, that botanically speaking, a tomato is a fruit.
I see.
However, scholars also contend that anything not considered a meat may also be considered a vegetable.
What?
Yeah, that's what this says.
Like an egg?
That.
I'm sorry, I just.
It's almost like you asked me to move in the fourth dimension. I didn't understand it, couldn't do it. Yeah.
I just find that crazy.
I want to believe that in this strict classification of it's either meat or vegetable, that egg would have to be meat.
Meat, okay. And like milk and stuff would be meat too? I'm sorry.
Yes, milk is meat.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
I think.
So like grains and stuff would be vegetable?
Yes. Well, because a vegetable is supposed to be, generally speaking, the edible parts of a plant.
Okay.
So if it's an edible part of a plant, it should be a vegetable.
Okay. And if it's not an edible part of a plant, it's meat?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then. Well.
So water is meat.
Water is meat. There you go. Who
No,
knew?
I mean, obviously some things are apparently neither meat nor vegetable.
Yeah.
I don't know who these scholars are who say this. But,
I don't either. I want to have a word with them. That's a strange thing. Can't believe that went to the Supreme Court. What were they doing? It's crazy.
1893, apparently, they didn't have much on the docket.
I guess not.
Like, what's next? The tomato question. All right.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's really...
I guess they'd already done the whole slavery thing, end of the Civil War, all that. So...
Yeah.
Where
do you go from there?
Tomato.
Tomato.
All right, let's get back on the Lost train.
Yeah, that's all right. Good to have a tangent or two. Keeps you
come for the loss, stay for the tangent.
That's right. Okay, so in the next scene, we go back to Sun, pointing the gun at Ben. Sun demands the proof that Ben offered earlier. Kate goes and gets Aaron from Sun's car and puts him in her car. Ben suggests that they go see the person that is going to get them back to the island. Kate realizes that getting back to the island is what this is about, and she says they're crazy and leaves. Saeed decides to leave as well and promises that if he sees Jack or Ben again, it will be extremely unpleasant for all of us. Saeed leaves. Ben asks Sun again to go with him, and Sun agrees.
All right.
So there you go. Boom.
Lost,
yeah. So they're definitely not unified here. Kate took off. I could have seen that coming. Saeed taking off, I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, Saeed is he's they say no man is an island, but Saeed is an island, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what his thing is. I thought, I thought this would be the moment, hey, Miss Hawking said Ben needed to bring all of them.
Yeah.
All right? So I thought this is the scene. They all get together. it all comes out in the open, what's going on, and some people don't like it, but somehow they're managed to be convinced this is the right thing to do. And it doesn't work out that way, and I think, for various reasons, one being, Kate taking off, that was a surprise to me only because I sort of thought, they would be convinced in this scene to continue on this journey, but yeah, they're not going to go leave now because I think, I don't think Aaron's coming back to the island, so they've got to finish that whole thing. Saeed's thing, he claims he doesn't, not only does he not want to see Ben, but he doesn't even see Jack anymore.
Yeah.
Which is like, wow, okay, so you don't want to see anybody then, because those are probably the two people who would come find you.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Yeah.
So,
and they're a package deal these days, so.
They are. So, yeah, and I don't know what his threat,
I did like that he said
that
it'll be extremely unpleasant for all of us.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like, does he mean if Ben comes to see him, then he's going to kill Ben and then go find Jack and kill him?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I kind of feel like he's saying, if either one of you finds me, all three of us are in trouble.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange.
I sort of like the idea that it won't be pleasant for him either.
Yeah, like he's not going to like it, but he's gonna do whatever he's going to do.
Yeah. I mean, we got a sense of this when he broke Hurley out, and he told him never to listen to Ben, and the thing about the dirty laundry or linen, whatever, dirty linen, wasn't it?
Dirty linen.
In the last episode. But he was going along, and I thought he would just sort of come along until it got to a point where he didn't want to deal with it anymore, and then maybe he could leave. But he leaves pretty early here. I mean, he doesn't really know that much about what they're doing or why, seemingly.
Yeah, now, I forget, why did he come with them? Did he think he was going to get Hurley or something?
Yeah, originally Ben and Saeed were going to go get Hurley, and they just went and met Ben's lawyer, where he said Hurley's getting out tomorrow. And
that's right. So that's why Saeed. That's right. He's hanging out with him because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to say to get Saeed to come back to the island.
Yeah, I don't either. He doesn't seem to have a strong reason to go back. So.
Unless Shannon's still there.
Oh God.
Ooh.
Oh.
That old thing.
Never thought you'd see her again.
Exactly. You know what I did? I had a random thought when I was watching this episode, and I'm like, I really wonder what it would be like to have Boone to be around this whole time.
Yeah.
Like if Boone didn't die, like what would he be up to these days?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff would they have put him in?
That's a good question. Where he would have been for all the things.
Yeah.
Where would he have been when the hatch exploded, and where would he have been when
they others kidnapped Jack and Cade and Sawyer and all those guys, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's gone on. And I don't know. I was like, what would Boone have done?
Yeah, would he have left the island? Would he have stayed on the island? Would he have died on the freighter or something? Mm-hmm. What would he have thought of what happened later? Yeah, he didn't get to see shit. I mean,
he didn't get to see. Yeah,
he really got nothing.
No.
I mean, he knew there was something there on the island, but man, that was just. Yeah. Yeah, it would be weird. It would be weird if you're still around. I really have no idea what they would have done with him.
Yeah.
He has made a couple reappearances over time, and I guess I feel like we will see him again before the show's over.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't know if that's really him or, I mean, that whole thing, But yeah, I see what you mean.
So yeah, the scene. What else?
Yeah.
That line that Ben tells Son. That that he has proof of that Jen is alive and all that.
Mhm.
And he says, we can go to this place. It'll take 30 minutes, and I'll show you the proof that he's alive, or you can shoot me and never know.
Mhm.
This is one of those big threats that Ben has done so many times.
He loves
so
that.
many times.
Classic.
And it's
Ben.
it just reminded me of the sort of threat he did with Kimi.
Mhm.
When Kimi had a gun to Alex's head, and he basically did the same kind of threat, and it did not work out.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that was the one time somebody actually called him on it.
Yeah, and here I'm thinking, Son's got this gun pointed to his neck. Great place to shoot him, by the way. That'll really hurt. He has to basically he's got to base his he's got to go all in on the fact that more than anything, Son wants to see Jen again / know that he's okay, right? So he's banking on that. But it's a tricky game because like she says, she spent 3 years thinking that he was dead. That coupled with the fact that Ben is not the most trustworthy person. Understatement of the year. I guess the year just got started, but anyway. I'm
pretty sure it's going to win.
Yeah, it'll probably
I'm just going to call it now.
How about the economy's not that bad?
All right, well.
I think that wins. Anyway, but for Lost, that wins. So anyway, I don't know. It's just I just like that situation where he really has to be sure that he's got to trust in her. It's like he's got to put his faith in what she believes in order for him to live. Yeah. He's got to sort of imagine how much she wants to see Jen again, and if he's wrong, then he's going to die.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting little thing that he's this is like a walk in the park for him. He's been in worse situations than having Son put a gun to him. I'm sure he's laughing on the inside.
Yeah.
Especially if he knows, I don't know. I mean, here's the straight truth. If Ben somehow knows that he does something later in the future or the past, then he is sort of assured of his that he's going to live that long.
Yeah. That's true.
So that could be influencing a lot of his motivations.
Right. It could be.
Because he's like, Son can't kill me. It won't happen. So. Because it doesn't happen, so it never did happen.
Right.
All right, well, that's it for me in this scene. We pick up on it, some of this stuff later.
Yeah, we definitely do. Okay, so the next scene, we're back on the island. Jen wants to go with Locke. Who thinks that's going to happen?
Oh, Jen.
Locke and Jen.
Locke and Jen, yeah. Who knew? Tag team. Now they're going to get some stuff done. You got Locke and Jen.
Oh, man. Yeah.
One can't walk, one can't talk. Oh, jeez.
That's good. They can have their own spin-off show. They're like a private detective agency or something.
Yeah. They get the job done. I don't know. Like, Locke can't get there because he can't walk.
Right.
Jen can get there, but he can't talk to anybody.
But together,
I don't know. Jen carries Locke at the end of every episode. Jen carries Locke to the place they need to go, and then Locke talks to whoever he needs to talk to, and then the case is solved. Worst show ever.
That's really bad. But I'd watch it. I'd have to watch it.
I would watch it. I would totally watch it.
Okay, anyway, that's not all that happens. So Locke says Jen can't go with him, but he doesn't know why. He just can't. Dan talks to Charlotte and agrees that they should go to the Orchid, but he doesn't understand why bringing the Oceanic Six back will have any effect on what's going on right now. Another time flash starts. Charlotte says, "Oh no, it's after the time flash, it's night," and then we get quickly another time flash, and it's day again. Charlotte collapses. Juliet's nose is bleeding, as is Sawyer's. Charlotte tells Jen not to let them bring her back because, dun 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 dun, this place is death.
Because the Little Prince. Oh wait, that doesn't fit here. Because Jughead. Yeah. That would be. Those are the outtakes. Like, no, Charlotte. This week's episode title. Go. Then she nails it.
Because all the best cowboys have daddy issues.
Yeah. Because White Rabbit. So this thing here at the end, when she's sort of frantically speaking in Korean to Jen, and then Sawyer says, "What did she say?" Does she literally just repeat everything she said in English?
That's the sense I got. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That was just weird to me. It seems like she just like said it all in English.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. That was weird. Because usually in something like that, like, they'll say it in whatever language, and then, we need to translate it, and then they'll just say part of it or the last part or something.
Right.
But it seems like she just kind of repeated everything.
Yeah. That was handy.
Yeah.
No one was really going to be able to translate it, so.
Yeah. I mean, Jen could have translated.
A little bit, yeah.
I mean, I feel like what she said, he could have said that.
Yeah.
Don't bring Sun back. No reason. This place kill you. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how they write his stuff, but
right. I think you got it actually.
I was thinking of Jen as Tarzan, so maybe that's what they do.
He does seem to be very Tarzan-y. Yeah. There's a fine line between poor English and just being Tarzan.
Yeah, there is.
It's hard to tell.
Sometimes that line is a loincloth.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes it's not.
Right.
So the whole thing with Locke, one of the many times through this episode where he knows that something has to go a certain way, but he doesn't know why.
Right.
Like you said, he tells Jen this is a one-man job. That's just the way it is, and it's just no one really. I mean, did anyone say like Jen can't be there when Locke turns the wheel? It's just like Locke.
No, it doesn't seem. It seems like he just thinks that.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the fact that, Locke believes he has to go do this thing and that ultimately it will be a one-man job, which I'll agree with him is fine, that's a reasonable assumption. Mm-hmm. But, Jen can't go with you up until that point. Like, somehow that's too much, I don't know. Right. But, yeah, this whole thing about, Locke says, he doesn't know why it's that way. It just is, I don't know. Yeah. It's a little crazy, but that's pretty much Locke's MO, this whole, show.
It is. It's weird. It's weird to me because this whole season kind of hinges on doing things for a reason that no one knows.
Mhm.
And it's just kind of odd that they have to be motivated by thinking it needs to be done, but having no idea why.
Mhm.
It's hard for me to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very urgent that they do this for some reason.
So much of this seems like they have to do these things because, this whole time travel thing makes it seem like they have to do this stuff because if they don't, it's like the sequence of events, all of the sequence of events have already happened in a certain perspective.
Right.
And they can't change that. But they have to sort of do these things because they do these things. And it's almost like they're compelled to do them because they do them, and they don't know why they have to do them.
Yeah.
Because the reason that they have to do them is because they do them. And what's even worse is I'm not trying to sound intentionally confusing.
Yeah.
That's just, I think, what's going on here.
So you think that this has something to do with time travel?
I think it's sort of like these events, sort of happen in a specific way, and they have to sort of do those events that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's this sort of compelling force to make sure that happens. You can call that the universe or something.
Yeah.
But there's some sort of thing that's basically, making them do these things the way that they do happen. Because they're not changing how things happen. And they're really sort of not even. It's almost to a certain degree they're not even making their own decisions. Almost, it feels that way. It's just like, well, Locke is supposed to go down there and break his leg, and that's what he does. And,
yeah.
That's what he always did. And it's almost like we're just watching these events play out that have already been set in motion.
Yeah, and that's very that's very strange for drama, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which I think a lot of times hinges on there being various possibilities for things.
Yeah.
And the different characters wanting different things and, thinking that there's actually a chance it could go various ways.
Yeah.
When everything is sort of set out, it's going to be this way because it is this way. I mean, you can look at it that way, but it just feels very, I don't know. It's just too rigid, It's too it's too set. Like it's not very exciting when they're just playing out the things that they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Sun could shoot Ben, but she doesn't, so she can't.
Right.
Exactly. Like she sort of makes up her mind not to shoot him, and so when we see the events play out, she sort of can't shoot him because she's already sort of not.
Right.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to handle.
There's a lot of that, and so when characters say, I don't want you to do this, or they try to fight this, it's either useless or that's already part of the story.
Mhm.
So
to me the big problem comes into when is a character able to say what they can and can't do, because it's like, you can't do X, Y, and Z because you didn't do that before. Well, maybe let me try to do it, and if I do it, then I did it.
Right.
It's just like, it's almost like, okay, if you can actually do it, then that's fine. But if you don't do it, then that's fine too. And it's just it's sort of when are you following the script and when are you not? But
I know.
Guess what? You're always following the script.
That's the thing. Whatever you can do, you did do.
Mhm.
So whatever you do is what you did.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to think that way. I mean, that's just not the way things actually seem to work. I mean, maybe they do in some sense, but it certainly seems like when various options come up, we actually could pursue one or the other, and it hasn't already happened. I mean, it feels that way.
I think that's the thing about time travel, and that's the thing about the perspective of time, is that, even right now, even, what most people would call the present, which is, this moment right now, if someone from the future came back, they could tell us what we're going to do. And, presumably, and it's not like we didn't have a free will to do those things. It's just that they knew what we did.
Yeah.
And that's what's strange,
Yeah. Yeah. The part that really gets me, I guess, is the fact that time travel occurs and the effects of time travel
are already incorporated into the Yeah. Well, that's what I was trying to get at earlier about time not really being linear, it just being the sort of, continuous thing where, the sort of first time that, people on Earth are experiencing, the 1950s, you could find the Losties there back in time.
Right.
Because that time period is linked to everything that's going to happen afterwards.
Yeah.
Including when they, in the future, go back in time. So it's definitely hard to think about that because we definitely think of time as being linear.
Yeah, and we can sit here and say, we can think about something we did last week or whatever, and we can say, we did that. We know what we did.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that we could go back and tell ourselves that we're going to do that, well, I guess the point is we can't do that, sort of, because we didn't do that.
Yeah.
These logical loops are where I start to spin out of control and steam comes out of my ears, and I just just want to go to sleep.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's the sort of instant that something could change the past. I mean, even quicker than that because it's already done it. And it's already been factored into the present.
Yeah, it just seems like there's an inherent, there's just an inherent, the effects of the future the effects of the future on the past are always there.
Yeah.
There's something about that seems like there's no way it can work that way.
It makes it seem like, take Terminator, for example. It makes it seem like, Skynet could never send, robots back in time to destroy humanity.
Yeah.
Because if they did that, then they would already have done it, and we'd be living in that right now.
Right, yeah. Now, that was the paradox. That's the thing that people always say about it. If they go back and kill,
Connor,
if they kill him or his mom or whatever, then they wouldn't have gone back because they already would have been killed.
Yeah.
And I guess the law solution to that is whatever they did, they failed.
Mm-hmm.
They can go back and try, but they can't succeed because they went back and didn't succeed.
Yeah, it would be if they do succeed, then they always succeeded.
Right.
Which
and
is fine.
If they always succeeded, then they wouldn't have. Like they just can't. They cannot succeed. If he's alive in the future, it's too late. They can't go back and kill him because that's already been taken into account.
Yeah.
And that solution is bizarre to me. It works, but it's hard to think about.
I mean, that's the thing. You should not be able to go back and stop yourself from being born.
Right.
And if you are able to do that, I would have to. The only way I can make sense of that is you're in a different timeline. Yes.
When you're a lot of different timelines, that gives you a lot more freedom.
Yeah, because I mean, here's the conundrum. I mean, take the example if you want to go stop yourself from being born for whatever reason. At what moment does your sort of future or present existence stop existing? Is it the moment you build the time machine? Is it the moment you get into the time machine?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the moment you go back in time and find your mother or whatever the situation is? Is it the moment when you shoot your previous? At what moment would the events trickle through time.
Right.
And it seems like it should be, instantaneous. It seems like it, even the moment where you
and what does
to
a
have
moment
that
mean
idea.
when you're traveling through time?
What is what?
How do you define what a moment is when you're talking about a context where you can travel through time?
Yeah.
What do you take to be the moment? When
exactly. And that's why I feel like what Lost is saying is it's like with this idea of at what moment would you stop existing if you try to go back and kill yourself. It's you sort of go back and back and back and back and back and back, and you just keep going back until you realize you're just in a circle, and it's a closed circle of events. Because there shouldn't really be a period, of when you would stop existing, because why is it the moment you shoot yourself and not 2 seconds before that if you're going to eventually shoot yourself?
Right.
Your previous self, or why isn't it 5 minutes before that, or why isn't it before you even invent the time machine, if you're going to eventually invent the time machine and succeed? So it's like you go back far enough to where you're just in this loop.
Yeah.
Of where it's sort of you just can't do it.
Right.
It's weird.
It is weird. It is weird because it really does seem to mean that that you don't have options. But I guess the idea is supposed to be somehow you have options. There's just an option you're going to pick.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have options. You just eventually make a choice, and that's the choice you make, and that's it. I mean.
Yeah. But the thing is, you in some sense you couldn't have chosen the other ones, and that's the part that seems hard to swallow.
Well, it's like, okay, last week I had say I had pizza or something. I mean, could I have chosen to have something else? I think the answer is yes.
It seems like it should be yes.
Would I have chosen to have something else in that situation, given the set of circumstances? I think no.
Mhm.
Because, the choice is sort of predicated on, what you're thinking of at the time and the circumstances.
Right.
And the outcome should equal that. And, yeah, so it's like you have the option of choice, but it comes down to, how you make the decision. And that's, maybe that's just a sort of finite equation.
Right. Yeah.
And that's where Miss Hawking comes in.
There you go.
Because she's got the equation for your choices.
What are my choices, Miss Hawking?
Well, I'll tell you. Because I don't sound like this at all.
Who is that?
I don't know.
That sounds like someone.
Sounds like Mickey Mouse.
That's not who I was thinking, but yeah, it kind of does.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you know who that reminds me of? It reminds me of, you remember on Arrested Development when...
when Tobias was Mrs. Featherbottom?
When he pretended, yeah, that's who that reminds me of.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Featherbottom. Yeah. That was one of the most hilarious things ever.
Yeah, it was.
When he got confused about like who he was, and I haven't seen you in weeks. I saw you earlier today. Oh, that's right. Oh man. Oh, David Cross, what are you doing to me?
I know.
Ugh. So funny.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
You know what else is great stuff?
I'm gonna say not the next scene, something else, but we're gonna go to the next scene anyway.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so in the next scene we got Sun, Jack, and Ben riding in the van. Ben's driving. Sun notes that it's taking longer than 30 minutes. It's taking longer than the 30 minutes Ben said it would take, but Ben didn't account for traffic. Jack apologizes for leaving Jen behind. Sun says, "Why are you telling me this?" Classic Lost. Are you going to ask me not to kill Ben if he's lying? Jack says, after what he did to Kate, Jack will do it himself if Sun doesn't. Ben's overhearing this conversation, so he...
I'm in the car, guys.
Yeah. So he stops this. I will stop this van.
I will pull over right now, kids.
I will turn this van around and take us right back home. So Ben says that after he stops the van, Ben says that he's helping them and he's done a lot to keep them and their friends safe. And if they knew about that, they'd never stop thanking him. And he and says to shoot him now if they're going to. And Son says, drive.
All right.
So they don't shoot him.
Drive, bang.
Bang.
So I thought it was weird when Jack said that he was going to kill Ben if Son didn't. Because you didn't, I mean, there hasn't been much time to process what happened the previous scene, but it's, now we know how upset Jack is about what Ben did to Kate. I don't really think he was really serious, but
yeah, it kind of seemed to me like he was just trying to be nice to Son.
It seems like he was definitely upset and pissed off at Ben about it, and sort of meant it. But it just would be weird to me for Jack to be, sitting in the back of the van this whole time, and then they get to where they're going, and Ben turns out to be lying, and then Jack kills him.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't really see that happening.
I don't see that happening. Sorry, Jack, but it was a nice sentiment.
Yeah.
So Ben pulls over and he tells them, if you guys knew what I have been doing for you all, you would never stop thanking me. I just wonder how true that is. I really believe that Ben has been through an ordeal and has had to, do a lot of stuff to sort of fulfill this plan that he's trying to accomplish. But I just don't know. I just don't know if he really told them that they would just really never stop thanking him.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. Even if he was like, I had to kill these people because they wanted to kill you, or I had to do this crazy thing so I could get this crazy thing so I could go do this, and I almost died, and I had, I just don't know what he could say that would really just make them so, I was trying to say gratified, I guess. Maybe that's
gratuitous.
I was thinking gratuitous, but that didn't seem right either.
Yeah, no, that means like unnecessary.
Yeah, I think, but you know what I mean.
Gracious.
Gracious?
No.
Does that work? I don't know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even if it was something worthy of that, would they really? I mean, after all he's done, I'd be like, well, you owe us.
Or grateful.
Yeah, grateful. Maybe that's. Yeah, I don't know.
Something with a G. Yeah.
It is definitely something with a G.
No, I agree. I mean, I definitely think he's exaggerating a little bit. I mean, it's hard to believe they would really literally never stop thanking him. I could buy they might thank him a couple times, maybe. Possibly.
Yeah.
I feel like Ben might believe that, or he could just be lying. He does lie a lot.
Yeah.
Which is another kind of understatement, I guess.
Yeah.
But I believe him. That's the thing about Ben.
Why do you believe him?
He lies all the time, and yet, his sincerity wins me over and over again. I always think, he means it. Oh, he means it this time.
Since when has listening to Ben ever got you anywhere worth a damn? I'm just gonna say it again.
All right. Well,
And then I'll add, I believe him too.
Okay. Good. Good. I don't know how he does it. It's really astounding to me to have a character who is notoriously and admittedly a liar, has spent a huge portion of the show telling lies, and at the very least, withholding the truth. And yet, I still continue to believe him pretty often, considering that.
I really think it's a similar syndrome to, oh, I know, he beats me, but he loves me. He promises he won't do it again. I mean, I really think it's something where you're sort of believing in the hope that he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And because you want, you want that to be the situation where, okay, he's telling the truth, and that means we'll get to this place that you want to get to. And so you're believing in the hope, which sort of, outshines the apparent truth,
right.
which is, you really should just never trust him. That should be the sort of default stance. But somehow it's, it's that hope thing. You're hoping.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the time that he's telling the truth, and
yeah.
maybe
I guess
this is,
so.
yeah.
I mean, back in the season 4 finale, he had that whole thing where, he kills Kimi, and he's basically responsible for the boat blowing up. And he was callously indifferent to that at the time, so whatever. And even though that had just happened, when he goes down there to turn the wheel, and he's like, I hope you're happy now, Jacob, and he's having to leave the island behind and leave the others and hand him over to Locke, and I actually felt sorry for him.
Oh, totally.
I couldn't believe I felt sorry for him. It's just so ridiculous. I don't know what his magic is, but I actually sympathized with him, even though it just doesn't seem like he should be sympathetic in that context.
Well, I think it's because in that context he's basically sort of he's sort of making a sacrifice,
Yeah.
He doesn't want to leave the island. He's sort of, it's basically like, I've been doing all this bad stuff because someone else has wanted me to, or I've at least thought that this is the thing to do for this other person.
Yeah.
And he becomes, more human at that point, because it's not that he's just this maniacal person so much as, we're hoping he just has a plan that doesn't really make sense to us, and yes, sort of involves some objectively bad things.
Yeah.
But it's all for some reason that will come clear. And again, I think it's, you're just sort of, it's this hope thing.
Yeah, you're right. I guess that's it. It. It does seem like, there's once we fully understand Ben, we'll say, oh.
Mhm.
And be able to deal with what he's done, even if, it's like, well, that was bad, but we can at least kind of get it, and
yeah,
it won't just seem like just aimless evil.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. There's always the hope.
There's always the hope.
So yeah, okay. So you ready for the next scene here?
Wait, what scene are we on?
The
van.
The van, yeah.
The thing about traffic, as soon as sunset, you said we'd be there in 30 minutes. I thought they're in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was traffic, and then he says, "I didn't account for traffic."
Yeah. The one thing Ben can't plan for.
Yeah, traffic on the 405. Yeah, no, it's
clockwork precision. All of his plans.
And it's funny because I live in LA, and when Ben said it would be take 30 minutes to get there, that seems like a quite a bit of a drive, but really
oh yeah,
they could have gone 10 miles, and it could take 30 minutes or longer.
Man, I could make a full circle around where I live, probably about 3 or 4 times in 30 minutes. No problem.
That's crazy.
That seems like a long drive to me. I don't ever need to drive 30 minutes anywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. 30 minutes, I could get a few places here in 30 minutes, but 45 an hour. Yeah, that's no big deal. That's I went down the street. It took me an hour.
Wow.
Crazy. But I don't know. I thought that was funny, and I think it's obvious he should have used Google Maps because they tell you the time to get there, including traffic times. So he could have been a little bit more accurate if he used the resources available.
Good point. Maybe next time he'll remember to use Google Maps.
Google Maps.
It'll get you.
Now with Street View.
It'll get you where you want to be, when you want to be there.
And fun.
And fun, thank you.
Throw that in there.
Yeah, why not? It is fun. I like Google Maps. Who doesn't?
Yeah, I'm ready for the next scene.
Okay. So back on the island, Charlotte is saying things brought on by her reaction to the time flashing. Locke wants to keep moving. Locke says they have to leave Charlotte behind. Dan will not leave her behind. Another time flash happens. Charlotte tells him to go. Sawyer asks Locke what to do if the orchid isn't there. Charlotte tells him to look for the well. Everyone leaves except Dan and Charlotte. They stay behind. The rest of them arrive at the orchid, but another time flash happens and the orchid's gone. And then they find the well that Charlotte was talking about, and Miles wonders how Charlotte knew it was there. Maybe I'll just do the next scene too. Sorry. So back with Dan and Charlotte. Charlotte says she grew up on the island with Dharma Initiative. Then she moved away with just her mom. Her mom would tell her that the island wasn't real. Charlotte became an anthropologist to find the island.
What?
She's been searching for it her whole life. Charlotte says she remembers something from when she was little and still on the island. A man came to her and told her she had to leave the island and never come back, that if she came back, she would die. Charlotte says that man was Dan.
Wait for it? Oh.
Sorry. Didn't want to leave that too long. So, okay, there you go. And scene.
And scene. Yeah, this scene is pretty crazy. So, we talked about last time how, when Charlotte had the big to-do last episode when she passed out and all that stuff, and then she, she saw it was Daniel, and it seemed like it was like the constant thing working. We were talking about that. Yeah, that was my theory. That was pretty far off base. Yeah. Like I said then, I thought it made sense if it was, I kind of thought she was going to die eventually, and I figured, but if, that if it was about the constant thing, then, okay, she'd be okay, but then it came back again. Yeah. Just when you thought we were done with all that. Yeah. We're not. Not at all. So, yeah, we see her sort of doing this thing that other time-traveling people have done, with this sort of reliving past events kind of a thing. It's interesting, like she's doing the whole why can't daddy come with us being sort of like a child thing, and then she's an adult again. And, Sawyer says, what is she talking about? And Dan says, I have no idea. And it's like, but don't you have some idea? Don't you? If you think about it, Dan, don't you have some clue as to what's going on here? I feel like he should have some idea of what she's going through, and he doesn't seem to. So I don't know what you make of that. No, you're right. He's completely perplexed by everything she's saying. He doesn't even seem to know that she was an anthropologist. You're a what? Yeah, I expected him to be a little bit less confused than he is. But he just, as soon as it starts, he's just constantly perplexed. Yeah.
saying, "What does that mean? Why are you telling me this? I don't know." And so on.
Yeah, I did like the whole thing with the flashes happening faster and faster.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes it seem, that their situation's more dire if they keep. Because if the flashes just keep happening faster and faster and faster, then they're gonna die sooner.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So very easy way to crank up the drama here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else is going on in this scene? They want to leave her. I love let's leave her here. We'll come back for her. Okay, so you guys are in the middle of time traveling. You're trying to go to this station where you think Locke can get off the island to save everybody. You don't know what's going to happen when you get there, if you get there. But yeah, we'll come back for you. All right. I'm not buying that one.
No.
Not that I don't think he means it. It just seems like in this situation, I would find it hard to believe to trust that you guys will come back for me.
Yeah.
Like they might not be able to.
Right.
Who knows what could happen. So Dan stays with her. And Sawyer's question, what happens if the orchid isn't the orchid isn't there?
The orchard.
Yeah. Orchid and orchard have always been the same word in my vocabulary.
Oh, okay.
For a long time. Pre-lost.
Right.
It's just a similar words.
I can't argue with that.
Especially like orchid is like a flower, right? And
yeah.
And orchard, has plants and stuff.
Something to do with plants, yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. Oh, what did Sawyer say about the orchid?
He basically says, what if it isn't there when we get there? Which I expected someone to say, it's always been there.
Oh.
Where was Juliet to say
Juliet,
that? Right?
Yeah.
The orchid's always been here.
How long has it been there? Long.
Oh, Juliet.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, that was the thing I was going to mention in the scene with Jen. Like you were saying, Sawyer was very happy to see Jen. And then, they cut to, the rest of the guys there. Juliet seems really, really happy to see him. Oh, we're really happy that he's there, but, nothing, they don't, hug or anything.
Right.
But I did expect some sort of something with Locke. He seems to be even less sort of caring.
Yeah.
Because Juliet looked really happy. And Locke was just sort of, oh, cool, Jen's here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Miles was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to mention how, how Juliet was really happy.
Yeah, Juliet was happy.
Yeah, she was really happy.
But yeah, I don't think her and Jen are there yet where they can, get overly excited about seeing each other in this scene. That would have been weird.
It was appropriate.
Yeah. But Sawyer definitely. Somebody was happy to see him.
I know, right? There's the other thing I was going to mention about that scene too is how the little thing they tried to do with not having the gun pointer off screen. You think it might be Danielle because that's the last person who was trying to shoot Jen. But it's actually Sawyer who's got the gun on Jen. But
right.
It didn't really work because you heard Sawyer's voice. And it was really obvious that it was Sawyer.
Yeah, they did. I sort of like that they didn't try to make him talk different.
Yeah, they didn't try very hard to pull that little thing off, but it still works because they didn't try really hard. Yeah. Right. I mean, maybe it would have been better if they had Sawyer put on a French accent. but they didn't, which was good.
Yeah, I think.
It's like, why is Sawyer speaking with a French accent all of a sudden? Oh, well, don't ask that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they could get away with that, as much as they might have liked to.
Or they could have just, you hear the gun being, someone aiming the gun at Jen, and no one says anything, and then Jen turns around and it's Sawyer. You could have had the silent reveal.
Yeah, they could have done that, yeah.
But anyway, back to this scene.
Yeah. It's kind of a little ways back. That's all right.
So we got this part. So then Charlotte says, "Look, you'll find it at the well." So clearly she knows, she's been on the island before, which we had already, pretty much figured out.
Yeah.
Why she knows about this well, I think, is an interesting question, considering what's down there.
Yeah.
And she sort of seems to know what they're looking for, even though she sort of appears, I don't know. I feel like she's, this is, obviously memories coming from her child self.
Mm-hmm.
Or her, former memories or whatever.
Right.
But anyway, my point about the Sawyer line, what happens if the orchid isn't here, is just the fact that I'm glad someone asked that question.
Oh, if the orchid isn't there anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at this point, they don't have any idea where they are, and they just went through like 3 flashes or something.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have to account for that. I suspect that the orchid set doesn't exist anymore, and that's at least part of the reason why we don't really see it.
I would believe that, because when we did see what they showed us of it, it was not the original orchid.
Definitely didn't look like the way I remember it looking.
Yeah, it looked like it was, I guess maybe sometime in the future afterwards. It looked like either it hadn't finished being built or it had been demolished.
Yeah.
One of the two. And so I think you're right on that one. They probably don't have that set anymore. Yeah.
Just one of those things. I mean, that's one of the reasons we're not likely to see the swan hatch anytime soon.
Yeah.
Much as they might like to film scenes in there, they'd have to build that entire set again.
Yeah, no one wants to do that.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. No one wants to do that. So yeah, I think that's part of why they did this well thing. But on the other hand, they're time traveling, so they definitely have an excuse to have the orchid not there.
Yeah.
That's possible and reasonable and all that. Other ables.
Other very many ables.
Yeah. Yeah, so here's where we find out, I guess, everything we're ever going to know about Charlotte before she dies. She used to be on the island. I guess now that I read the transcript, she knew there was this thing, the Dharma Initiative. I guess I thought she was saying she was with them, but maybe she wasn't even saying that. I don't know. So then she moves away with her mom, but she never sees her dad again. So then that whole thing comes up, and she was an anthropologist because she wanted to find the island again. So I guess that sort of explains the scene with the polar bear where she finds the Dharma collar, and she knew about Dharma, and so she was looking for the island and blah blah blah. I just think it's kind of unfortunate that they got this anthropologist on the island, and she never did anything.
She never did any actual anthropology.
What?
She never actually did anything with anthropology.
Right, that's what I mean. The skill set that she had that seemingly had potential was never utilized.
Yeah.
Whereas Dan, for example, has utilized his knowledge in various ways. Miles' ability has come up a few times. Hers just never came up. And it just seems odd. It just seems like a wasted thing to never even have her, get to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Get this character on the island, give her a good reason to want to talk about these things, and then that's it. She never does it and just dies. Strange.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with all that. I mean, they made up this whole thing with, Dan being in love with her for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
They didn't really seem that close, off island, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like they had this long-standing relationship necessarily.
Right.
Or friendship, at least. So, I don't know. I remember when she
I'm
first
not
came
clear
to
if
the
they
island.
even knew each other off the island.
Yeah, I really don't think they did.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that subplot, except, I guess I feel like it's going to provide some kind of motivation for what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Because apparently, based on this scene, he's going to go back. I mean, we saw him at the beginning of the season, when the orchid was being built.
Yeah.
And so presumably at some point he'll also go talk to little Charlotte and tell her to leave the island and never come back. Of course,
Yeah, and then here's the problem. At that point, shouldn't he know that she does come back and dies?
What's
anyway?
the problem? There's no problem.
And this is from the same man who says you can't change anything.
I know. Yeah, so it's confusing. It's confusing because in this context, I mean, she remembers that this happened. It's sort of already occurred.
Yeah.
And so the problem is he knows it'll fail, and yet he did it. So he's going to do it.
Well, here's the thing. He's got to do it because he did it.
Yeah.
And even if he knows it's going to fail, he's got to tell her anyway. And it's at this point I'm wondering, is he going to tell her because he has to, or is he going to tell her because he knows he has to?
I
don't
see
know.
the distinction.
Good. That's the first step. 10 points.
But I don't know. I guess. God, I really don't know.
So
because he definitely should know that it will fail, and I feel like he should also know that if he did it, then he's going to do it. So I want to say that he knows, but he also knows that he's got to do it.
Here's what's strange for me is the scene when the orchid is being built and Dan is there. Like, they need to explain that a bit more. Right?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, yeah.
Because that was like right before we learned that they're flashing, that they're time shifting, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just weird to me. I'm just wondering, where is everyone else at this point that's time shifting also?
Right, yeah.
He has somehow infiltrated the Dharma camp for whatever reason. That he's going to do this at some point. I guess he hasn't. See, that's what's weird is he has he done that yet? Which is, I don't even know if that's a question that
depends
makes sense.
on what you mean.
Like, if you ask the Daniel in this scene, who's talking to Charlotte about that other scene when he was in the
Oh, let me put
like
it this way. I think his body is aged more when that scene occurs.
The scene with Dr. Chang.
Yeah.
Chang, okay. You think it's
I think it's at a later time relative to him.
Biologically.
Yeah, biologically speaking. So
you don't think it's happened yet?
No.
In terms of that's
I think
what's weird.
It's still to come. Yeah.
That's what's weird is seeing that scene.
Yeah, I feel like we saw that out of context.
Yeah, definitely.
To kind of give us a little teaser.
Yeah.
For the season.
Like a flash forward.
Like a flash forward, sort of.
Flash forward back in time.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, in a sense, a flash forward. Yeah. Yeah, so I feel like at some point, he / I don't know who else will decide to do that. And,
well, I guess it'll be pretty soon then, right? Or it could be soon because they're at the point where later they're at the point where the orbit's not built yet.
right.
So, they could just flash a couple times and then there's a crew there working.
Yeah. Right.
He doesn't even have to sneak in so much as just be around when the flash happens.
Yeah.
And then he's automatically there.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this is all kinds of craziness. So yeah, the whole thing, Charlotte's little speech here. Yeah, again, like you said, we sort of thought she would do some sort of archaeology, or I should say anthropology, I guess, while she was on the island, and sort of didn't do anything. That's definitely strange. So here's the thing. I thought she was part of the Darwin Initiative too. I guess maybe she doesn't necessarily have to be part of them, but I think that she was part of it.
Yeah, I kind of do too, but I guess I didn't quite understand what she said, and once I read the transcript, I realized it could be interpreted that she just knew about the Darwin Initiative. She wasn't necessarily a part of it.
Yeah,
but I do think she was a part of it. I agree.
So she was there with her mom and dad, and then her mom and her leave. The dad presumably stays.
I guess so, yeah.
The question is, who's the mom and who's the dad?
Yeah, right, exactly. Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
I think it's a thing. I think
the dad.
I think the dad is someone we probably a person of interest is the thing.
It seems like a lot of Lost these days coming down to who's mom and who's dad and
who's baby and
yeah.
So familial in this show.
It's gotten out of control, and I'm your brother, and
you don't know I'm your sister.
Yeah.
Tell my son I said hi. Who's your son?
Yeah, it's just all over the place. With like Winmore maybe being Dan's father, and all.
So are you saying that Lost is nothing more than a family drama?
It certainly seems that way.
A family sci-fi drama.
I don't remember a time in Lost. I know there's always been a little bit of this, but I don't remember a time in Lost history where there's been so much speculation about who's related to whom.
Yeah. There you go. Look at that.
Look at that. Boom. I said it.
Boom. Done. Because you use the preposition, so you use whom.
That's right. And I said who
Very
first.
simple.
Because it didn't belong there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just, Dan's mother, that thing's probably, totally clear at this point, but,
yeah.
If we didn't know by now, this episode makes it even more clear.
Yeah.
Although there's still the question of what that means or whatever, if anything. Yeah, there's also been some, what Miles' story with the island is. I mean, there was sort of a suggestion that he's involved, and then that, then you could say, well, who are his parents, and if there's some story there, and it's just all this thing about who people's parents are and what they did, and Jack's dad is.
Oh my god! I just had a horrible theory. It's a horrible idea.
Oh no! I'm afraid, but I have to know.
What if Miles is Chang's son?
Oh God!
We did see him taking care of a baby.
We certainly did. Oh no! Oh Jesus!
Yeah. Don't rule that one out, I guess, huh?
Oh, God, you're probably right. Oh, God, that was probably Miles. Oh, my God.
Was it a baby? Is there any way to know the gender of the baby? Did
Little
they make
baby
any
Miles. I don't remember. It makes me want to look. I do think it was a boy, though, if I remember right. I guess I could be wrong. I'm just going to have a quick look here. Please stand by.
Doing research, folks. Busy yourself with your spreadsheets and whatever work you're doing while you're listening to us.
We know you get a lot done.
Maybe doing a little vacuuming, little household chores. Maybe, what else are you doing? You're probably driving somewhere in traffic, maybe. What else could you be doing? Maybe you're about to go to sleep. Apparently people listen as they drift off to dreamland. So did you find anything?
It doesn't look like the transcript indicates the gender of the baby. So that's up in the air.
Well,
it's at least possible.
Yeah, I mean, barring any sort of ethnic differences between the two characters, I don't really know if they're supposed to be the same, the same ethnicity or not. But that's my working theory now. It just popped in my head when I'm like, who could his parents be that we've seen before?
Yeah.
Huh. On the island. Well, there's Dr. Chang who has a baby.
Right, yeah. Yeah, famous Dharma Initiative Asians. That's a short list.
Yeah, definitely a short list.
So, yeah.
Actually, all the names on that list are the same person.
Right. So I hadn't thought of that, actually. I just thought, maybe there's more to the story. But, yeah, they could definitely do that. And that would be weird. And I don't know where that would go. But, they could do that.
Yeah, I mean, that might even tie into why Miles has his powers and all that.
Oh, God.
Who knows?
Oh, no. Everybody's got crazy parents this year.
It's the year of crazy parents.
It really is. All over the place. It's just a big parent thing. God. So what about Charlotte? Do you have a theory about her parents? Well, her parents?
Well, she's British, she's English. Whitmore's English. It's a straight line to me.
There you go. You're right. Boom.
What more do you need for that one? No, I mean, I think Whitmore, if Charlotte is his kid too, that's just a lot of babies.
He's all over the place. Now, Whitmore is both Dan and Charlotte's father. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they never kissed.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow, Whitmore, wow. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't have a show.
Maybe there's something where, like, this sounds ridiculous, even more normal than normal. Well, maybe there's something before, around the time they were having problems procreating, maybe Whitmore was the only one who could make it work.
Oh, God.
So they just, part of his duty was to have kids. He had the he had the right stuff, so to speak.
That's
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's definitely a theory. Oh man. Oh God, could that possibly be true? Whitmore was just the only man who could get the job done.
Get the job done. Yeah, exactly.
Fill in your own euphemism.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, I don't know.
I mean, I can't even say this. I was just going to say, they did portray him as, when we first see him, on the island as a young man, he was very cocky. That's all I'm going to say.
Fair enough. That's
take from that what you will.
Symbolic, perhaps. Yeah.
Some might say he was even ballsy.
He was very testicular.
Now we're just throwing your anatomy words.
Yeah.
Very testy, maybe. All right. So, yeah, I don't really think Widmore is necessarily Charlotte's father. There could be somebody else. I'm a little more concerned who her mother is, I guess.
Yeah, that does seem like a thing. The mother who said the island never existed.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh, Charlotte, you just made that up. And next you'll be thinking Peter Pan is going to take you off to Neverland.
Why is Mrs. Featherbottom back?
That's my British lady, okay? That's all I got. That's all I got.
That definitely seems like Charlotte's mom. I could see her saying exactly that.
Oh,
I think you're onto something. Okay, so should we move on here to the next scene?
Yeah, let's move on.
Lock down the well. Locke's gonna climb down the well to find a way off the island. Jen tells Locke not to bring Sun back. Locke says he has to. Jen says, "How do you know?" Locke says he just knows. Jen threatens to cut the rope if Locke brings Sun back. Locke promises not to bring her back. Locke asks Jen what to say if Sun finds him. Jen says tell her that he's dead and gives Locke his ring for proof. Locke takes the ring and takes hold of the rope to climb down the well. Juliet thanks him in advance if what he does works. He says, "You're welcome," and climbs down. Another time flash happens as Locke is climbing. Locke falls and breaks his leg. Up above, the well is gone. Sawyer wants to help Locke, but he can't because there's no well there.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Oh, wow. Can't beat a good pun.
You really can't.
Oh,
we
well.
didn't even plan that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. So, yeah, lots of to-do here. Thanks, Jim, but I think Sun's going to come back anyway.
Here's the thing I was thinking about, like when people come up with these plans on the fly, like, okay, so how's this supposed to work, Jen? Locke is supposed to, if Sun finds Locke is supposed to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Jen is dead. Here's the proof. I have his wedding ring."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then Sun's going to say, "How did you get this?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Locke is going to say, "He gave it to me before I, Locke, what is Locke going to say of how he managed
Locke
to get
has
this?
to say, "I took it off of his dead corpse."
For what reason?
To prove he was dead. That's really ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it's not such a good story, I guess.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But you know what does work? Is if
What?
Locke gives the ring to Ben and then Locke dies.
Yeah.
And then Ben uses it as a way to get...
to prove he's alive. Exactly the opposite thing. Nice work, Locke. Way to go.
Oh, Locke.
Yeah. I feel like that's ironic or something, having the thing that was supposed to convince her that he was dead so she wouldn't come back be the thing that makes her want to come back.
Yeah. If he didn't give her that ring, Ben presumably wouldn't have had any way to prove that Jen was alive.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, too, is, no one's talking about the fact that it's been 3 years.
Right.
Jen could have died from any number of things within 3 years on that island.
Yeah. He could have. But I guess the point is he didn't die when you thought he died, so there's at least a chance he's still alive.
Yeah, see, it's hope again.
It's all
about
hope. It's a show run on hope.
Hope and family.
Hope and family. Law. ABC.
ABC. Bring your kids.
I never realized what a great show this was for teaching important values.
Between the torturing and the shooting people and the kidnapping and the lying, there's a lot of good family values being shown.
Yeah. Just setting all that aside, you're right.
Yeah. Killing people's children and all the subterfuge and all the, all that stuff aside, what do you have?
Hope and family.
Hope and family. All right.
Yeah. So okay. Well, shall we? Do you have anything else about this scene?
How much did you expect to see a subway down at the bottom of the well?
Subway. Very little.
Right.
How much did you expect to see a subway?
I thought, why would Sawyer bring up a subway unless they're trying to tell us there's a subway down there? No. How bad would it have been for Locke to have gotten stuck in that part of the well that got replaced by, the ground?
About that. I was wondering what would have happened if he were still there, if the dirt would have just, entered his body or something.
Yeah.
That would have been a really weird way to die.
I mean, obviously this, like we said before, the time shifts aren't, for lack of a better term, scientific.
Right, yeah.
Because like we said, if you're standing on some place, and then you flash to 50 years before where there was a tree there.
Yeah.
You should be part tree now.
Right.
But you're not. So, they're.
Yeah, they're playing around. The rope is still there.
Yeah, that was what was weird is, the rope that Sawyer is holding is still there, but the rope that Locke had broke off.
Right.
So it wasn't like the rope was still, linked. In the middle between somehow there was no rope anywhere.
Right.
And I figured, Locke should see his rope going to the top of the cavern, just
yeah.
But no.
No, that's not it. Yeah, that's what it should be, but no, afraid not.
I mean, I would buy that only, one object can occupy space at a point in space at the same time, and that these time shifts somehow make that so it accounts for that. So.
Yeah.
So if the rope is there when the ground fills in, then guess what? There's no rope there.
Right.
Except for Sawyer's part.
Right.
We can move to the next scene.
Okay. Yeah, so the next scene, Dan, it's Dan with Charlotte. Dan tells her that he talked to Desmond and told him to find his mother, and that she can help them. Charlotte suddenly says she's not allowed to have chocolate before dinner, and then she dies, and Dan cries.
I can't have chocolate before dinner, because if I do, I'll die.
Yeah, that's it. Bye, Charlotte.
Charlotte, we hardly knew ye.
We really hardly knew ye.
And you hardly did any work on the island.
Yeah. So, there were two things about Charlotte I just want to commemorate.
All right.
Her first scene when they she's got there's this other woman with her, and they've got this newspaper that's about 8:15 being found, and she's like, how many languages are you gonna have to read that in or whatever? And she goes, how many are there? Really like that.
Oh man.
And the second thing, which I picked up on rewatching season 4, when Saeed and Desmond and Frank go to the freighter, they leave on the helicopter, and there's a period of time there where they call the freighter and they're not there yet, and it's been like a day, and it's ridiculous because it isn't that far away, and then Juliet comes up to Charlotte and says, what's going on? Because they should have been there, a day ago, and you're not worried, and she goes, what? She goes, what would you like us to do? Clasp our hands together and whisper a prayer on their behalf? I just really enjoyed that one.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I would have to say one of my favorite classic Charlotte moments was her fight with Juliet.
Oh yeah.
At the Tempest, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
They went all out on that one. But the weird thing is that Charlotte didn't seem to realize she was on the place that she grew up. I don't know. That never seemed to gel with me. Like, she was trying to find this island all this time, and then she found it, but she didn't do anything.
Yeah, she didn't act like it.
She didn't act like this was what she was looking for. She didn't say, I've got to find the place I grew up. I got to find the well that I remember playing around that my mother told me not to go down. Or I've got, like she never really seemed to realize this was the place. Like, she was trying to find the island. She found an island, but she never, I don't know. It seems like she just recently realized that this is the place or something, but then she's dead. Or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to do with her.
Yeah, I don't either. When she has her line at the end of the season, she talks about how she's looking for where she was born, but it does seem like she's not convinced this is it.
This has to be it. There's no other island.
Well, yeah, I know, but still, the way she says it seems like she's still trying to verify. On the other hand, it didn't seem like she did a lot to try to verify.
Well, I mean, she says she grew up here. She seems like she realizes this is the place. She spent
most of the season just hanging out on the beach, like playing cards with Dan, and I mean, besides that one thing where she went and they shut down the whatever that was called, the Tempest.
Yeah.
She didn't really do anything. And that had nothing to do with her search for where she was born.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, why was she hired is the big question. She's trying to find this island. Is it supposed to be a coincidence? She's trying to find the place that she gets hired to go do whatever she's hired to do, And maybe that's the thing is she gets hired to go to this thing on the island, but it seems like the reason she should agree should be because she thinks it's the place she's looking for.
Right.
But then on the other hand, it seems like she doesn't think this is the place because this is just some other place that she's hired to go do this thing.
Yeah.
And it seems like she would maybe think, oh, this isn't the island that I grew up on. But then it is. Well, that should have been her original motivation anyway.
Right.
I mean, what else would be her motivation? Like, she shouldn't be motivated by money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what they're. Here's the thing: you've got Charlotte, Dan, and Miles. 2 of the 3 we know have been on the island before.
Yeah.
Dan, has been on the island before, at least in this time shifting.
Well, yeah.
situation.
I guess we don't. Yeah, it's not 100% that he's been on the island before, besides the time shifting.
Yeah. I think he has been because I think he was probably born there.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
And
it does seem like they're going there with Miles too.
Yeah, and then the other person is Frank.
Yeah, Frank.
Who I don't know if he has any connection to the island. He's not really a part of any of this.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I guess he was. I mean, he was the one that had a very specific function, which was, flying the helicopter.
Yeah.
And he did that. So I guess he doesn't really need to be grouped in with the other 3.
Yeah.
But it seems like somebody wanted these, children of the island to return.
Right.
For some specific reason. And you got to wonder, Abaddon was the one who sort of picked these people, but you got to wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't specify.
Maybe they weren't supposed to leave either. But they did. But then Charlotte just died, so what was the point of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing that gets me, this whole they got to come back because they weren't supposed to leave. Well, they were supposed to leave, right? Because that's what happened.
I know. That's where Lost really spins out of control, I think.
Yeah, it's like you weren't supposed to do the thing that you did.
Because it's either what happens is what's supposed to happen or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to be saying both things.
Yeah.
And that just doesn't work. It really can't be both.
Why doesn't the island / Christian / whatever sort of realize that? Like, you know, I mean, it's all in how they phrase it. It's just, you know, this whole they weren't supposed to thing really should just be like, they did it, we need to sort of fix it. Not like they weren't supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but that's what they say.
Speaking of saying things, can I go back to another scene? I meant to mention something.
Oh, yeah, please.
The scene where Ben tells Kate, you know, Kate's like, why won't you leave us alone? Why won't you leave me and my son alone? And he's like, because he's not your son, Kate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we first saw that scene, you know, I was hoping there'd be more to that. They had a point.
I guess we get to see the more part,
and
don't
then,
we?
And then, well, not really, because we get to see the scene again, you know, when Son is, you know, about to creep up behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear that line again, and then they cut back, and like there's nothing after that line. Ben has no other point.
Yeah.
Like that they're showing us at this point with him saying that. It's just weird to me. It's just like that was the whole point, is just for him to make her remember that's not his son.
That was
her son. That's it. No, nothing. No follow up to that. No, he's not your son. Therefore, what? You know, like what's your point?
Yeah.
Like, just because he's not your son means he can't leave them alone?
Mhm.
Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
It just seems like, I don't know, it's just a weird, it just seems like a line that's there just to sort of, you know, give him the power in the situation, but not to actually make any sort of argument.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of seems like a diversion. Of course, he says because. If he just said he's not your son without saying that that's the reason,
exactly.
You know, that seems like that would work better.
Exactly.
But
yeah, exactly. He says because you feel like there's some cause and effect going on here, but no, it's just.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, maybe we are supposed to believe that's why he's doing it. Like, he's not going to let her have this kid that's not hers. I mean, that's really hard for me to believe.
Coming from a guy who raised a kid that wasn't his?
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. Maybe if Rousseau had, you know, gone the legal route, he would have been fine with it.
What? If Rousseau would have gone the legal route?
Never mind. I was just saying, like, you know, maybe it's just all about, you know, going through the proper channels.
But he didn't go through the proper channels, and he raised Alex.
Well, okay, yeah. Good point.
That's my point, is, like, he can't, I mean, it's really hypocritical if he's, you know, if he's coming from that perspective of, he's not your son, Kate, and, you know, I don't want you to have him, but, like, you know, he's got this personal experience of raising this child that wasn't his and loving this child.
And not only that, but actually kidnapping the kid, you know. Not just ending up with the kid through circumstances beyond his control.
Yeah, that's true. That's the other level.
So, yeah, in a sense, he's sort of more culpable for that than she is, because, you know, it's not her fault that Claire disappeared in any way.
Yeah, and I don't think Claire would mind Kate raising Aaron.
Yeah, I don't really either. I don't really either.
Because when Claire, you know, whatever version of Claire that was, came to Kate and said, you know, in the dream, don't bring him back, she didn't say, and don't raise him either, by the way.
Right, yeah.
You know, like.
No, I guess Charlie told Jack that he wasn't supposed to raise him, whatever that means. But you're right, yeah, she didn't say that. Oh, did you hear? Well, never mind.
What?
Never mind. I was just going to bring up this thing I read about how maybe those lines don't mean what it sounds like they mean, and that they're actually about Locke.
All right. Elaborate.
What?
Elaborate.
Okay, so you're not supposed to raise him, meaning like from the dead, and then Claire being about bringing Locke back to the island.
Yeah, I mean, you have to sort of ignore the context that they're saying that in.
You definitely have to ignore the context, yeah. At least, especially with Claire, since she's sitting in a room with the kid.
Yeah. I think the Claire thing, like I said, I think Aaron is not going to come back to the island. I think that's what that's about.
Okay.
Jack is not the one that I would give credit to for bringing Locke back from the dead. So in that case, that's a little fuzzy for me too. But it's nice that it can go both ways.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't quite specifically say who him is in both cases. So it leaves that there. I never thought about it that way. The more you know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't actually believe it. I actually do think they're talking about Aaron, but
yeah,
we'll see. I guess I kind of agree that he's not going to the island, but it is strange that the island's so choosy that some of them weren't supposed to leave, but for others it's okay. It's no big deal. Or maybe even not only it's no big deal, but like for some of them it's stay away.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that odd, but it does seem to be the case. So
as Dan so awesomely said, like he says, it makes empirical sense that this thing started at the Orchid. It might stop there, but the point at which we're saying bringing these people back is going to stop the time flashes. We're not exactly talking science here,
right?
And so the same. I agree with that. I don't know why bringing them back would necessarily stop this from happening. Seems to me, as we find in a minute here, that making sure that the wheel isn't off its axis is really the thing to do.
I agree.
Someone hold on to that wheel and maybe it won't do the flashes. I feel like that's really what's going on here.
Yeah, that does seem pretty plausible. Yeah. So on that note, can we go to that scene?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Locke, we're back with Locke down at the bottom of the well, where the well was, I should say. He's got a bone sticking out of his leg. Locke.
AKA, that's bad.
Right. Locke calls out, someone approaches, and it turns out to be Christian Shepherd. He says he's there to help Locke the rest of the way. Locke says he doesn't understand. And now I'm going to read the rest of the scene from the transcripts.
Should I do Locke and you do Christian?
Oh, you want to actually do a double thing? Okay.
It might be easier to.
So you're going to do Locke?
Do you have a preference?
Not really.
All right.
I go either way. Do you want to do Christian or?
I'll do Christian.
Okay. All right. I'll lock it.
Lock it down.
Yeah.
What point are we starting with?
Oh, I was starting with you came to see me in the cabin.
All right. You came to see me in the cabin. This is Christian. You came to see me in the cabin. You asked me how to save the island, and I told you you had to move it. I said that you had to move it, John.
But Ben said he knew how to do it. He told me I had to stay here and leave his people.
Since when did listening to him get you anywhere worth a damn? The good news is that you're here now. You ready to go?
I don't know what to do once I get there.
There's a woman living in Los Angeles. Now, once you get all your friends together, and it must be all of them, everyone who left, and once you persuaded them to join you, this woman will tell you exactly how to come back.
Who is she?
Her name is Eloise Hawking.
What if I can only convince some of them to come back?
I believe in you, John. You can do this.
Richard said I was going to die.
Well, I suppose that's why they call it a sacrifice.
All right, I'm ready.
Good. Now, on the other side of this column here is a wheel, slipped off its axis. All you have to do is give it a little push.
Ow! Could you help me up?
No, sorry, I can't.
Ow! I'm walking.
It hurts.
It hurts. I'm grunting in pain as I stand. As I round the column and enter the wheel chamber, I see flashes of green light illuminate the space. The pulses of light are accompanied by intense humming sounds. A large wooden wheel attempts to rotate forward but skips backward, seemingly stuck in place.
Good luck, John.
Locke grabs one of the wheel's arms and pulls his weight against it. The wheel suddenly lurches forward with a clank, throwing John towards the wall. The light emanating from behind the wheel becomes increasingly intense and gradually fills the chamber.
Say hello to my son.
Who's your son?
Flash.
Flash. All right.
Haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah. I thought it was time. This scene seemed to call for it. I had a hard time sort of not saying a lot of that stuff, so.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just gonna read it.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of stuff here. So I guess this first thing is this thing about Locke was supposed to move the island.
Mm-hmm.
And that scene where when he comes out and he says he has to move the island, and then Ben says he's going to do it, and Locke says, but he told me to do it, and Ben goes, but you don't know how to do it, and I do, and he, so he must mean that I should do it,
Mm-hmm.
that you would tell me, and then I would do it. And I think Ben meant that. I mean, I really think he actually thought that was true, and it seemed reasonable, to me at least. So the question is, if Locke had gone down there, and Locke had turned the wheel and all that, would that have been the end of it? I mean, would it not have mattered that they left and all that stuff if Locke had just gone down there and been the one to turn the wheel, and Ben stays on the island? I mean, is that really enough to undo all this?
Well, the easy answer here is Locke couldn't have gone down there because Ben went down there.
All right, so there's that.
But hypothetically speaking,
yes,
in a world
where
you could change things,
in a world where hypothetical is possible.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if Locke went down there and moved the wheel, Locke would have been the one to end up in Tunisia, supposedly.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, I feel like I can't answer that question without knowing the problem here. Is the problem that, Ben didn't turn the wheel all the way? Or is the problem, that when Ben turned the wheel and the island shifted, that the fact that, everyone who was, in quotes, supposed to be on there wasn't, so that's what caused the problem?
Yeah.
And so it can't right itself until they come back and the island can sort of stabilize or something. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe, oh God.
Oh no.
Oh God. Maybe the Losties are the island's constant. So to speak.
Oh God.
And so, because there is a sort of thing going on there where the island is sort of malfunctioning like people do when they're time shifting and they need a constant.
Oh no.
Did I just figure this whole thing out?
Oh, is that the whole show right there? Oh, God, the island just needs its constant.
The island needs its constant.
You're right. What's going on with the island is very similar.
Yeah.
To what happened to Desmond.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, oops, didn't mean to think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roommate on that one, folks.
Yeah, that hurts. That's bad.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, see, that's the part that really hurts, because I know that it actually might be true, and that. Oh God.
Yeah, so maybe that's the crux of what's going on here, and like I said, I still can't really piece together, if Locke would have done it, why that would have been somehow different. The chain of events would have, that seems to suggest that Christian would have preferred that Ben stay there and lead the others.
Yeah.
Which I have to wonder, why doesn't Christian know that, all these things are happening the way they will happen regardless, and so there's no use in sort of, chiding Locke about the decision when, to a certain degree, he didn't have a choice, right?
Well, he did have a choice. There was just one particular choice that he made.
Yes, exactly.
And he's unhappy about the choice that he made and always will make. But I agree, it does seem kind of useless to go on like this.
Which and I'll give him the fact that he said, but the good news is that you're here now, so
yeah,
it's kind of sort of, something.
Right.
But yeah, if Locke would have turned the wheel, why does the person who turned the wheel vanish anyway to sort of the real world or whatever? That doesn't really make any sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense at all. I have no idea.
And why does the wheel always get turned clockwise?
I really don't know that.
If I see a wheel that's glowing and is responsible for the time shifts, as you saw that really cool shot of when the shift happened when Locke was going down the well, the light was emanating from down there.
Yeah.
So like, okay, this is sort of the origin of all this.
The source, yeah.
The source.
Yeah.
You expect Neo to show up at some point. Right?
Oh God. The architect.
Yeah, the architect's there. So yeah, I don't know what would have happened if Locke turned the wheel. And I agree, Ben's idea made sense. Like, you don't know how to do it, I know how to do it,
Yeah, I mean, like, Locke never would have got there if it weren't for Ben. He had no idea what he needed to do to get in there.
I mean, Ben could have told him.
Ben could have told him. So I guess, I guess the place where the problem was when Ben goes to, says, I'm going to do this. You'll have to leave the island. He even says, like, you have to leave the island forever if you go do this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how true that is, but it does seem like you have to leave the island at least.
I think when Ben gets back to the island and they resurrect Locke, and Locke says, but I thought you said whoever moves the island can never come back, Ben is going to say, oh, I guess I exaggerated.
Classic Ben.
And that'll be the end of that. He'll wipe his hands and be done with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gets out of things a lot with lines like that. He could do that. Okay, so I want to bring up. So he tells him to go see Hawking, and names her and all that. I mean, if we weren't sure that was, her name here, it's pretty clear. And so I mean, this is what Ben's working on right now. So
yeah,
this puts what he wants in line with what Ben wants at the moment. So. When is listening to Ben ever been giving you anything worth a damn? I mean, Ben's doing what you're telling him to do right now. Ben's gonna continue the project that you're about to start, and like be the center of getting it moving. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a little unfair to Ben to say it's never ever ever worth listening to him.
Well, here's the thing though. Locke is about to go start this thing, and he will sort of fail in a way, but he's supposed to die, and he does die. But I think that's sort of part of the plan.
Yeah.
So he says it's supposed to be a sacrifice. So it seems to me that somehow this is planned, that this was supposed to happen for Locke. That somehow his death is a key component to making all this work again. Now, yeah, I just don't know how different Christian expected it to go. What other way he thought this should have gone down?
Yeah.
Because it seems like in the end, someone is in the real world working to bring them all back.
Right. Yeah.
And in this case, it's Ben who, yeah.
Yeah, so if Locke had turned the wheel, he just had to commence and carry out the project without Ben completely? Is that the only difference, maybe?
Yeah.
And if so, like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think Locke would have been able to accomplish it. I mean, when they go to the Orchid, Ben tells Locke how to get down there, and he couldn't even follow those simple set of instructions of how to get down there. You know, he says, go to this thing, go to this flower, put your hand by the thing and feel for the thing, and he couldn't even do that part.
No.
So, I mean, to add the extra stuff of what you do, you have to put metal stuff in the thing and then initiate the system and then blow a hole through the wall and go down to the thing. And,
that would have been way too much.
Yeah, and here's a quick aside question, is could they have just gone down the well?
Yeah, the well isn't there, maybe?
Why isn't it there anymore?
I don't know.
I assume the well would be there in the future.
I guess that makes sense. Somehow I thought the well was there in the past, but not in the future. But it does seem like it really should be the other way around.
Yeah.
But I guess I guess because the Orchid disappeared, but it wasn't like the well was the well's in a different place. I got the impression that when the Orchid disappeared, the well was in its place. You know, but that's not really what happened.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously it's quicker to, I guess, take the elevator down there, but
yeah,
I'm assuming the well was there and they could have sort of hopped down there. Because, the wheel is right there.
Right.
It's not even hidden, really. It's just at the bottom of the well.
Yeah.
And if the well is there, it seems like it's very easy to get to it.
Yeah. So when they flashed again and the well was gone, that was back in time.
I feel like that was they went back in time before the well was built.
Okay. For some reason I thought that was the future. Well, I guess I already said, but it was faulty.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So what else do we have here?
Okay, so he's got to go do that. He's got to sacrifice. Okay. Yeah, there is a question, what he does here, what effect that's going to have, if that's going to actually stop the time flashing or something, and maybe stick them in the Dharma Initiative time, and that's when they get involved in that or something. I don't know. Then there's this little thing that I don't know if I should read too much into. Probably not. About how he won't help Locke up.
Yeah.
Or can't.
That's what we're talking about.
That seems to be a thing, and I don't know what that's about. I can sit here and tell you what you have to lay out your mission and give you orders and stuff. But I can't just sort of help you up. I don't.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Part of me feels like he physically can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's not some kind of weird lesson teaching thing.
It does seem like part of it is a journey thing. Like, no, you have to sort of do it on your own and sort of, traverse the hardships on your own or whatever. But I kind of feel like he just literally can't sort of interact with him that way. Which makes me wonder if that lantern he's holding is real or not.
Oh, yeah.
When Ben went down there, was there a lantern?
I don't think so.
Wasn't there something down there?
I don't remember a lantern.
Okay. I thought there was something like waiting, or maybe it was the cabin where there was something like that.
Yeah, in the cabin there's a lantern.
There's a lantern out. Yeah, see.
And he always lit the lantern before he went in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a lantern cabin Jacob thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of feel like it's that he sort of physically can't.
Okay.
We've talked about that before with the apparitions. Can they interact with real matter or not?
Mm-hmm. It already seems. I mean, they've shown him doing that. I mean, he was holding Claire's baby.
Mm-hmm.
He was. Well, there was the Mobisode where he was petting Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
Probably other stuff I'm forgetting. They've there's at least 2 instances. I mean, they have shown these apparitions doing physical stuff.
Yeah.
So, and interacting with the people and the animals. So, yeah, so I have a hard time believing that he can't. He really, really can't do it. Based on what we've seen.
Mhm.
And yet, I still believe maybe that is what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy who's got a, basically, I mean, Locke should be in so much pain right now. He should be barely able to talk.
Yeah.
I don't know how I guess he's gotten injured in his leg so many times. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got his shin bone or something sticking through his leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's trying to walk, that's no fun.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like he literally means he can't do it, like physically. Like you said, he's giving him everything else. He's laying out his entire mission for him, and generally, So, I don't know if it's supposed to be a journey lesson thing where no, you need to do it yourself. I feel like he can't for some reason.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because Locke is Jacob.
There's that. That's always there, unfortunately. Did
I bring up the idea that the whole thing with Jacob and like the reason like no one can see him is because he's like in a different time or something?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So he says this line about the sun.
Oh yeah.
Do you have something else to talk about?
I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure that at some point we're gonna see Locke go visit Jack, and I feel like he's gonna figure out that that's Jack's dad at some point.
You think Locke is gonna figure something out?
Yes, I know. No one's gonna believe me.
Wait.
This is my crackpot theory of the week.
I think you mean to say someone is going to tell Locke that Christian is Jack's dad.
All right, okay. I should have said he's going to find out. I guess I shouldn't have said he's going to figure it out. That's a stretch, I know.
That is a stretch.
I guess I just imagine him going to visit Jack and seeing a picture or something. But maybe someone will just tell him.
You think Jack has pictures of his dad around?
Yeah, maybe.
The dad he hated?
Oh, I think he reconciled with his dad in the end. And by in the end, I mean after he was dead.
Yeah, after he was dead and he saw his ghost on the island.
Yeah.
He reconciled.
I think that was a reconciliation.
All right. I gotta find the dictionary you're using to define reconciliation.
Good luck. You might have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I guess I kind of do feel like he would have pictures, even though he hates him on some level. I feel like he's also still attached to him.
Mhm. All right.
But maybe not. That's just something I could see happening where we see Locke, what he does after this and somehow finding that out. But yeah, maybe it's not a picture.
Yeah. I
maybe
think
else.
that information is definitely going to come out, but what does Locke say after that?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where it's supposed to go from there.
I wouldn't want to have that conversation. Yeah, your dad, he's a ghost.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
And that's the thing, Locke doesn't know his name either, right?
Oh, Locke does. Locke did. Sorry. Okay. Deep breath. He did say his name was Christian. He didn't say Shepherd.
Okay.
In last season.
Yeah, last season.
When he went to see him in the cabin.
Yeah.
There was some discussion about that, and here once again, my son. I mean, he, takes ownership of the identity.
Yeah, he definitely does.
So making it seem like there really is something of that person there, and it's not just.
Yeah, and see, here's an apparition I think is sort of clearly not Smokey.
Yeah.
I just don't think if Smokey is shifting into these people, their form, I don't think that Shepard's one of them.
Right.
For sure, one of them. So
I agree. I would find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't think Smokey is that. I feel like if you see Smokey as someone, they're not going to be like this.
No, they're not. They're just going to try to kill you.
Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, so you ready for the last scene?
Yep.
Okay, let's, here we go. We're back to Ben's van. They arrive at the church. Ben pulls Jen's ring from his pocket and gives it to Son. Ben says that Locke gave it to him when he went to see him. Jack thought that Locke didn't go to see Ben, but actually Ben went to see Locke. Jen gave it to Locke originally. Ben tells Son that they can get back to the island, and he asks Son to come along. Son looks at the ring and agrees. Suddenly, Desmond emerges and asks them what they're doing there. Ben says, the same thing you are. Desmond says, you're looking for Faraday's mother, too? Ben doesn't respond, and they all walk into the church. Miss Hawking is there, lighting candles. Ben says hello. Hawking says she wanted all of them. Ben says it was all he could get on short notice. And Hawking says she supposes it will do for now. Then she says, all right, let's get started. Wow.
And this is the moment I expected the show to continue. I'm like, ooh, we're just getting somewhere now. Okay, great. Let's get started. Oh, it's over now?
Yeah, I thought it was going to continue, too. I wasn't paying attention at the time, and I was like, wow, That was it, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the endings have been weird this season.
Mm-hmm.
They've been kind of off-kilter. Not quite ending on the holy shit moments they used to do.
Yeah.
Ending in these
have some crazy moments.
Weird times where it's just, I'm going to Oxford. All right.
Oh, man.
So
yeah, there's okay. I guess we'll start at the beginning here.
So this is a scene where, if you didn't already know that Hawking is Dan's mom, like I feel like there's just no room for doubt anymore.
No.
This is where Desmond was given. This is the place Widmore told him to go to find her.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's him. Ben gives this look when Desmond says that, and it's one of Ben's looks where I don't even know what it means.
I don't think Ben knew that she was Faraday's mother.
Okay, is that what that means?
Yeah, and because he hears that and he just sort of marches straight towards the church.
Yeah.
I don't think he knew that.
Okay.
And I think for Ben he doesn't like when he doesn't know something.
Right.
Especially when somebody else does. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I like that line because you're looking for Faraday's mother too, because it tells the audience what they need to know, and it in my opinion gives something new to Ben because I don't think he knew.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that's what the look's about.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that. So when they go in there, I really wanted more of a thing with Desmond and Hawking. I don't know what I wanted them to do, but somehow I wanted it to be a big deal, and it just wasn't.
Oh, I expected her to see him and him to see her, and I expected Desmond to say something.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah. Even just that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Just walk in there, and it's like, okay, well,
I also was a little sort of pissed in a way when she was like, I said bring all of them. Ben was like, this is all I can get. She's like, okay, that's fine. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, the whole time it was been like, you got to get all these people. You have this much time.
It went from, what if I can't? Well, then God help us all, to, well, you know.
We'll work with this for now. And,
yeah.
You know, it's just like, how does that, you know, it's like I'm trying to make a cake. You know, all I have is eggs.
That's Jack.
This will do for now. You know, like, no, it won't. I can't make my cake without the rest of the ingredients. Like, I don't know. It's so weird.
Right.
Eggs and flour. Yeah. This will do for now.
Ben and Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. I feel like I guess I want to believe that they have to get them all at some point, but that they can get started, as she said. You know, they can do something with just some of them there. It's just that for it to completely work, they need all of them there.
Mhm.
That's what I'm choosing to believe at this time.
Mhm.
We'll see.
Because you're hoping it makes sense.
I am. I have a lot of hope. This show just fills me with hope.
I mean, but she's right. It will have to do for now.
Yeah.
Because they don't have all of them.
That's right. That's right.
Which to me is a bit surprising. I don't know. I really thought Ben was just going to be able to get all this done.
Me too.
But I guess he's got more time.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's been 70 hours yet.
Yeah, I guess not.
So yeah, I feel like the final countdown is still to come.
Yeah.
And at that point, it'll matter more. But we'll see what they're going to go get started on.
Yeah, what are they going to do? I don't know how.
I mean, I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. They're just going to conjure a portal to the island or something. I mean, it all seems very strange and not, let's get on a plane and go there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how they get to the island is going to be something pretty crazy, I think. I'm thinking it's just not going to be a normal way.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else about this thing.
From the stuff. Yeah, I mean, what can you do? I just, after all this, I want her to explain herself. I want more from her. She's just,
she's got to start talking next episode.
What's your deal? Yeah, she definitely needs to start talking. She can't just stand there and, look at things for the rest of the show.
No way.
So yeah, hopefully we'll find out. I was gonna ask, do you think we'll ever find out more about Danielle's story, or you think that's all we're gonna get?
I think we might see some more. It could just be wishful thinking, but I think we could definitely see some more of before the flashes are all done. I think we could see some other stuff.
Okay.
Because we didn't get that much.
No, we really didn't get that much at all. And I have to say, I really think, personally, to see the story, I kind of would have liked it better, the old-fashioned flashback format, because I think, for me at least, when you do a flashback, it really puts you in the story and forces you to, get involved in it. And, having these time flashes happen and having the perspective be more Jen's perspective, where you're kind of viewing the thing on the outside, really distances you from the stuff that's happening, and it just doesn't. Yeah. It's not as involving. These are really crazy events, but they just don't land as much as I think they should.
Yeah.
It's not as good as, for example, the Purge. The flashback about the Purge. I thought that was a lot more. I thought that really had impact compared to this stuff, which
you're feeling like it's unfolding as you're watching it, and not like this is something that already happened and we're just watching it happen.
Yeah,
There's a difference there.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you that point of view when they're just jumping into time periods and stuff like that. That's how you feel. You're just an observer.
Yeah.
And so that's I kind of wish we didn't have to just watch it this way.
Yeah, I feel like the fact that they started with her backstory, I think, the whole thing about how Alex was taken and all that, I think we'll see that.
Okay. Still to come then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I think it was the last episode when they heard Claire screaming and it turned out to be her having the baby. For like half a second, I thought they were going to revisit when she got kidnapped and explain how Ethan carried her and Charlie through,
That Justin's Mystery 101.
It is. It's my first mystery, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I wanted to know for so long, and I had given up that they'd ever revisit it. And for just a second, I thought they might actually address it again. Because it sounded like Claire, and it was Claire. But it wasn't the scene I wanted.
I didn't think that they were going to address that mystery, but I did think for half a second it was her getting kidnapped. It was that era where she was, Ethan was chasing her or whatever.
Oh, okay, good. Well, good. I wasn't the only one who thought that. I just, the whole, how that played out with Claire forgetting what was going on and hanging Charlie, and that's never made sense in my mind. And it would, I'd be interested to see them actually try to make that work in some reasonable way. But yeah, they probably won't do that. I think at this point that's really way afield from what they're doing. So, yeah.
So, we mentioned before about these flashes. I think this episode we get confirmation that, that the people, like Rousseau, mentions to Jen she saw him disappear.
Oh, yeah.
They, they are aware of their influence and presence while they're there and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
So Ethan most likely did tell whoever, about shooting Locke and seeing him and all that.
Yeah, presumably.
Which is craziness.
It is craziness, yeah. And maybe that just added to the Locke cult, or whatever is going on over there with the others.
Yeah.
I still don't know that he's ever really going to lead the others, but we'll see.
Well, Jacob leads the others, right?
Oh, does he? Okay, I forgot that Locke was Jacob.
Please don't forget that.
Yeah, okay. Well, good point.
Michael was the man on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Locke is Jacob.
There you go.
Closed subject.
Yeah. Oh, man on the boat. Good old days. Wow.
Good old days last year.
I got a man on that boat.
He's going to blow it up.
And you'll never, ever guess who it is.
Michael? Yeah, how'd you guess?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, well,
yeah. We'll be back next week with whatever it's called. I used to look these things up.
With next week's episode?
Somehow I thought with just intense contemplation I could think of what the next week's title is, but I don't think I know, so it's not going to help.
Well, you should go to the future and then learn what it is and come back in time and tell yourself.
It's a good idea.
Oh, wait. If you could do that, you did do that, and then you would already know.
You're right. So there's no use.
A wise man once said, you can't outsmart time.
Really?
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, and the once is, sometime in the future maybe. Who knows?
Uh-oh. Well, that gives you a lot of leeway.
It does. Thank you, time.
You're welcome.
Please, time, don't talk. Because if you start talking, I'm going to start asking you questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what time is it?
Oh.
And then you'd have to say me.
Oh.
And that's a conversation I don't want to have.
Yeah, I agree. You really shouldn't have that.
What time is it, Time? I am Time. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll try to take that in.
All right, pretty good podcast, I think.
Oh yeah,
We got a couple crazy theories out there, which is good.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, next week we'll get the discovery of Miles Chang, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure that's coming. If not next week, then the week after for sure.
Yeah. And the island just needs a constant.
That's right. Oh, the island just needs its constant.
Oh man.
And Locke is Jacob.
Locke is Jacob.
Don't forget that. And
Smokey is Vincent.
Smokey's Vincent. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember all that. What?
I'm going to stick to that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's definitely yeah. I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh, you've seen it.
Have I?
No, not really.
Okay, good.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with the next episode. I'm sure it'll be good. The season's been pretty great so far.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy shit.
Awesome. Thanks, and namaste.
Namaste. Good luck.